Are you having sex with Adam Faith?
Calling all emos, computer programmers and blokes called Malcolm who still live with their mum.
Crikey, there must be more to life than this.
It's the revolutionary virtual human interface you can access without ever leaving your bedroom.
And what were you up to the other night? That's what I'd like to know.
How cool is that?
Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. The Two Mikes, Parry and Graham on Talk Sport.
Look at the light! That was Jesus cast him out the temple.
That's right, yeah.
Because Jesus didn't understand economics. You worry too much about the time.
Yeah, no, I worry about it.
You can't tell the backside of one horse from another unless you're an absolute expert. So, no, seriously.
Oh, dear. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. We've come to the end of another amazing week, and it's time to say a very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, a Parry. Very good morning to Mr. Parry.
A very good morning to you, Mike. A very good morning to you. I've made a fantastic discovery by reading one of my scientific
Well, is this
journals.
since you've been glugging down all that Red Bull that came in earlier?
No.
I need to talk to you about that.
Well, somebody sent me that. Thank you very much, whoever it was. I'm not sure who it was, but it was something to do with...
Yeah, but don't be drinking too much of it before the show gets underway. Do you know what I mean?
It was some endurance race or something.
Oh, really?
I think it's like a rally
That's how it feels being on a show with you.
Yeah,
feels
really?
like an endurance race. Yeah.
Well, you can go home if you want. It wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, I will be going home, but substantially later than you go home. Unfortunately,
wouldn't bother the audience. Yeah, well, I'm into quality, mate, not quantity. I don't ramble on endlessly.
Yeah.
Now,
I can see that by your the shirt. Nice shirt, by the way.
This
very nice.
Yes.
What colour is it?
Blue. What's your problem?
Have you got anything? Any other colour?
Sorry, you've got another shirt on tonight, which clearly hasn't been ironed.
I haven't ironed it, no.
I didn't want to mention last night that your shirt last night looked as though it had been put through a mangle the wrong way round.
I left it in a dryer too long.
And what is the problem with your shirt tonight?
Well, why would I iron a shirt to come into work on the radio?
I thought you told me that your shirts all went off to a dry cleaner's.
I send my good shirts off to a dry cleaner's, but I don't wear them every night into here.
Oh, so that's a rubbish shirt, is it?
Well, it's not a shirt that for example...
How did you wash it?
Pardon?
How did you wash it?
I washed it in a washing machine.
Where is this washing machine?
Where is it?
Yeah.
It's in my kitchen.
Oh, I see. I didn't think you had a washing machine. I thought you went to the local laundrette.
No, I've got a washer-dryer, actually.
I thought you went down the local laundrette to try and pick up a local floozy while you were,
No, I take my
shirts tumbling around in the tumble dryer.
No, I do take my shirts to be pressed at a local dry cleaners.
Pressed?
Which has a very large... sort of those big industrial things. If you want to take your duvet down and wash it, you can. Yeah, but I don't. I don't do that sort of thing.
That is the filthiest form of living.
What?
To use a communal wash house. I mean, I just can't believe anybody can do that. I just can't believe it.
Well, because I mean, for example, if you wanted to wash a duvet, right? Yeah. You can't wash it in your little, little Bosch thing or whatever.
I would take that to a dry cleaner's.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it to some stone-walled wash house with a big machine where you shove in your.
No.
How do you know what's been in the machines that you use in laundrettes?
I don't use them.
Well, some people do.
I'm saying that there are people. What I'm saying is that the inside the dry cleaners, they also have these big industrial washing machines.
Yes.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, it's disgusting. I mean, how do you know that some down and out have you never taken a
shower? Have you never taken a shower in a golf club?
What?
Have you never taken a shower in a golf club?
Probably.
Have you ever taken a shower in a football situation?
Yeah, of course I have.
Other people have washed there.
Yeah, but not their clothes. It's not their clothes. Anyway, listen.
You don't know what they've done in there, to be honest.
I want to tell you about this discovery. This is the most incredible thing I've ever come across.
Really?
I've now found a way to spend substantial amounts of money.
Right.
Do you know what scientists...
As opposed to buying really ridiculously expensive cars and throwing it away that way?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Yeah.
This is absolutely amazing. For €1 million, that's £780,000, right? You can now have an operation. This is incredible. No, you can now have... What's wrong?
Well, the operation trying to make you look like a human.
No, you can have an operation, and what the scientists can do is they can plant in your bonds, right, in your brain.
Yeah.
And the fact that you think that just a few weeks ago you made love to Marilyn Monroe. And you honestly believe
She's been dead for a few decades.
Well, I know, that doesn't matter.
This is like what do you call Total Recall, isn't it?
No, I don't
know.
know.
Total Recall?
No,
the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Total Recall?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Well, they remade it the other year.
Anyway,
this is where he goes on and he goes to Mars and he wants to take this holiday and they implant a chip in your brain so that you can pretend you're a secret agent.
Oh yeah.
And you go on holiday and you act as if you're a secret agent.
Oh no,
but of course the trick to the story was that he really was a secret agent and he really had been on Mars before.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, that's very interesting.
No, but this is the reincarnation.
No.
This is the reincarnation of that.
No, it's not. It's not.
Go on then.
You can have it. So, for instance, you could be walking around now thinking you scored a goal in the European Cup final.
Well, I mean, you don't need you don't need an implant in your head to do all that,
and
because
you
you walk
really
around.
it.
You really believe that you are a great-looking guy. You
What?
really believe that you're very successful at what you do.
Yeah.
You really believe that you're one of the most fascinating people who's ever walked the earth.
Yeah.
So you don't need the operation. You save yourself €1 million.
There's a guy called Professor Bliss, right? And
Bliss.
He's made a breakthrough. And it's
Made a breakthrough?
A breakthrough. And it's about accessing the postdoctoral neuroscientific area of the brain.
Oh, yeah.
And they can plan anything there that you want. So you could believe that you scored a goal in the European Cup final, you made love to Marilyn Monroe, that you've climbed Everest, that you've won the Formula One World Motor Racing Championship, anything you want.
Or the boxing cup at Butlins. I mean, you've already been there. You've already done all this.
Well, you know...
You've already been a pioneer in this.
Well, it's very good of you to say all that, but I mean, isn't that fantastic?
No.
And it's called...
No.
The area of the brain where they go in is called the NMDA receptor, OK?
Yeah, but why would you want to live a life that hadn't happened?
Well,
why
it makes
would
you feel good. Makes you feel good.
No, it doesn't. It's not real.
It means that
No,
they
it's not
can...
real. This is typical of you. You would like to think that you have done everything better than everybody else, so you could have it implanted into your brain.
I've done most things better than everybody else.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You don't need it. You don't need the implant.
No, I don't. But I mean...
In fact, what you should do is you should volunteer to give your brain to these people when you die, and then they can work out how you did it without the implant.
What happens is, what it leaves in your brain is what it would have been like to have made love to Marilyn Monroe. You know, it doesn't mean that you have, because, of course, as you quite rightly say, she died in 1962 or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
But they leave you with the feeling in your brain of what a wonderful experience that was.
Yeah, but it's pathetic.
No, it's not.
It is pathetic.
No, it's brilliant.
I can't imagine why anybody would want to go through life in some kind of fantasy world.
No, you're not in a fantasy
Yes, you
world.
are.
No, you're not.
It didn't happen.
By the time they've done it, you're walking round in world and you're feeling good about yourself because you seriously believe you have at some stage made love to Marilyn Monroe.
You see, you'd have to be
more confident picking up women.
You'd have to be a very shallow person to think that makes you somehow a better person. And secondly, at some point or other, there would probably be the downside of it, which would be when you would realise, actually, I paid all this money to believe all this stuff, and actually, really, I know that it didn't happen.
No, you don't know it didn't happen. You believe it did happen.
Well, then you could be certifiable and locked up in an asylum.
Here, I've got an expert here saying memory is one of the essential faculties of mind, which we'll eventually understand more or less completely. I think we've got a pretty good handle now on what happens. If that is the case, and the question does become possible, could we instill memories of things that didn't actually happen?
Yeah, but that's one. It's very dangerous.
We sometimes call it the Marilyn Monroe experiment.
I mean, not only scientists can come up with that sort of nonsense as well.
I don't think so.
After years and years of research, the best thing they can come up with is we can make you remember having made love to Marilyn Monroe. Really?
Listen.
Why don't they invent somebody who can walk around thinking that they've found a cure for cancer?
No, well, this is where it's leading, because what it can also do is, if you've had some terribly traumatic or distressing memory from the past, they can do the reverse.
Well, that's no good
either. They can get into
either.
your brain and take that out. So you've forgotten about it altogether.
I can't believe you're in favour of this.
Oh, I am in favour of it.
As a good Christian, you're basically advocating, Frankenstein medicine.
Yeah.
You're basically saying that what you've been given by whichever god you believe you've been given it by should be messed about with, changed, and given to you anew.
Here, listen to this. Professor Collingridge said that drugs could be used to rework human memories in a similar way. Whilst many memories are good, there are memories which are bad.
Yeah.
And worse than bad. Classic examples would be post-traumatic stress disorder. So you could treat soldiers in the field who are suffering from
it's a bad idea.
Post-traumatic distress disorder and remove it from their brains.
It's a very bad idea.
A memory of a painful event which no longer serves a protective purpose, you can get rid of it, OK? This is a brilliant breakthrough.
It is. No, it's not. One, it's not a brilliant breakthrough.
It is.
Two, it's only available to people with €1 million.
Well, it should be. It should only be available to people.
Which makes me smell a rat immediately.
It should be
because
only available
these
to rich
scientists,
people.
right? All they want to do is make a load of money out of it.
Yeah. Well,
instead of doing it for good, why are they not suggesting?
Yes.
For example, if it's such a good idea for soldiers with PTSD or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Why aren't they saying to them, "We'll offer you this for free"?
Well, because governments will have to pay for it, and that's
right.
There's
so as long as the scientists get rich, that's fine.
Yeah, of course it is. If they've got a unique talent and can provide things in life that nobody else can, then that's the question of supply and demand, isn't it?
Well, it's not really.
Of course it is.
If it's supposed to be for the good of humankind.
Well, brain surgeons are paid a lot of money because not many people can become a brain surgeon.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you ever remember a show called Monroe, starring...
Monroe?
Yeah, starring James... what's his name?
I thought Monroe was a type of hill in Scotland.
Well, it is, but it was also the name of this show. Who
was in it?
You know our favourite Northern Ireland actor, Jimmy...
Nesbitt.
Jimmy Nesbitt, yeah. And I think it only went for one series. But
I never saw it.
he was a brain surgeon in this one, and what happened was he didn't use a scalpel anymore. He uses like tongs, like levers of power type thing. You know what I mean?
Tongs? What you mean, like just pulling and pushing?
Yeah. You're actually using minute little sort of things which were. But anyway, the thing is, it's so difficult to portray a brain surgeon as being an interesting person. I think it only lasted for one series.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But I think this is a fantastic.
The other problem for people like you, and why it wouldn't work for you. Yes. One, as I say, is because you've already convinced yourself that you've done loads of stuff that you've never actually done, or that you've done it a lot better than you did it. You're trying to tell the audience I'm some kind of a fantasy. Yeah, well, you get accused of that kind of Walter Mitty-esque thing.
No.
Second of all, you can't remember the things we did about half an hour ago.
What do you mean?
So, I mean, no matter what memory they implanted in you, you'd forget about it anyway. You'd forget what it was like to make love to Marilyn Monroe. Because you can't remember anything.
I don't think anybody would they?
Yeah, I think you would.
Wow, I tell you what we're going to talk about during the show tonight, because we've got the document. Do chimps believe in God?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think the answer to that is no.
I don't know if it's yes or no. I'm going to find out. Research documents just arrived.
It's in a paper which the answer to every question they pose is always no. However, I've got a couple of surprises for you coming up next as well.
Like surprises.
This is Talk Sport.
Hawksby and Jacobs.
They're swearing.
This afternoon from 1.
You can't do that.
Let's hope that you're as much of an expert as you say you are to avoid any kind of humiliation.
There won't be any humiliation.
Has the Red Bull? How many have you had now?
I've had one Red Bull.
Just one? Okay.
Because somebody sent me in a consignment.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think you should stick with the one, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sticking
now,
with
how about
one.
this from Mark on the Wirral? He says, AMG, why not ask Porky to get hypnotised for 300 quid and make them believe they can run 100 metres in under 1 second?
That will happen.
He can save £1 million at the same time from his historic journals.
Yeah, okay. Well, don't worry. That'll happen one of these days. Ye of little faith.
Now, do you know why we were playing Please, Mr. Postman?
Well...
just wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Well, that was a Beatle cover, wasn't it? I never liked that one very much indeed.
The Carpenters did it as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Everybody did that song.
Yeah, I don't know who wrote it, but it wasn't a great song as far as I'm concerned.
But you're a great supporter of the Postie, though, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. The postmen are some of our biggest followers. They stick their earphones in whilst they're on their rounds, pushing their... they push these carts around these days,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or drive around in vans. You never see a postman on a bike anymore, which is a real shame. I think they've ditched all their bikes.
Well, it depends on which part of the country, I suppose.
No, they don't have any bikes.
They might have bikes in sort of more rural areas.
No, they don't. They have vans in rural areas. They don't issue bikes anymore. They have these carts. But anyway, they're good men because they have such a difficult job.
And women.
And women, of course, absolutely.
I mean, don't be sexist about it.
No, I'm not being sexist about it. No, good men and women. I was about to say that before you jumped in.
Yeah, I know you were.
But anyway, what's the relevance of you paying that?
Well, because I've intercepted a piece of correspondence.
Oh, really?
Which was sent to you.
Oh,
but it arrived in my pigeonhole by mistake.
Oh, right.
And it's a card. From one of your many fans.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I get a lot of those.
But it refers to an incident.
Make sure you pass it on to me so I can reply.
It refers to an incident.
Oh, yes.
Which you haven't told us about.
An incident I haven't told you about,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're usually around when these sort of quotes incidents happen, so maybe you were there.
Let's see if you remember this.
Right.
Dear Mr. Parry, thank you so much for stopping and making my son's day.
Oh, right.
He was over the moon to have met his hero.
Oh, right, okay. Is that me? Is that me?
Well, I presume his hero wasn't around, so you would have done just as well.
That's a bit hard.
She goes on. The Two Mikes is a firm favourite with the whole family, and we would be thrilled to get a mention on the show. We, Sally, Richard, Alistair and Finn, who's the boy, and she sent a photo in as well of him with you.
I see. Give me that photo. Let me have a look.
To every podcast, right?
Oh, I remember this young man.
And Finn has learnt so much about the art of debate from you both.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. So we're educational as well.
So indeed it is a family show.
We're educational.
So you should be very careful about your usage of certain words, which might prove offensive.
I'll tell you exactly what this is about. Remember this young man now. What happened was I had to go over to something.
Well, hang on. Before you put some kind of time frame on this, I mean, you didn't mention this at all.
I think it's about month ago or
A
something?
month ago?
I had to go over to Sutton because that's where I have to pick up my tablets,
Yeah.
you know, my...
What happened to the tablets from last night? Have you taken 2 lots today?
No, why?
Well, last night you said you'd forgotten to take them.
No, I didn't.
Well, you did. You said you'd forgotten to take them. But you said you had a 12-hour window in which to take them.
I took them when I got home.
So you don't take any tablets, do you?
Of course I do. I took them when I got home.
Oh.
And anyway, I had to go and pick up a consignment of tablets you have to get from this particular chemist, because when my treatment first started, like 10 years ago, that was my...
Do you have to take a Pantechnicon to pick them up?
No, but I have to take the car and put them in the boots. You know, there's a lot of them. Anyway, the point is, I remember parking up, and as I got out...
Did you hit the wheel as you parked, or did you manage to do it without hitting the curb?
I managed to do that.
Well done.
Yeah. I'll tell you about that later.
Right.
And this lady was smiling at me, and
how unusual.
Exactly, it's not unusual for a lady to smile at me, but she was with her lad.
Yeah.
As I walked over, she introduced herself and said, "Oh, can we do a picture?" And we did a picture, and this is a picture that she sent in. Lovely picture, young Finn.
What's happened to your hair in
myself.
that picture, by the way?
Well, what happens is sometimes I remember it was a very bright day, and I remember saying, "Look, make sure you don't take it into the sun, or else it'll obliterate the picture." So we got into the right place.
Obliterate the picture?
Yeah.
Well, it'll just make it dark.
Yeah, that will obliterate it, won't it? Because there'll be no image, no facial features, you see.
Photography is not your strong point, really, is it?
It is, yeah, it is. I know a lot about photography.
Do you?
I've worked alongside some of the great photographers, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't used to speak terribly highly of you, though.
Anyway, what happened was it was still so bright that it makes my, what would you call, snowy coloured hair on the top of my head disappear.
Yeah.
So I
makes it look like you haven't got any hair on the top of your head.
Yeah, it does a bit, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the image is there. But that's very nice, and I want to thank young Finn. And what's his mother's name again?
Sally,
thank you very much indeed.
The only thing I would say is...
for taking time to
The only thing I would
me.
say is the card that's been sent in, right?
Yes.
Can only be described as one that's been used or it's been created by some kind of recycled paper.
Right.
It's just there's nothing on it. There's nothing on it.
Let me have a look.
There's nothing on it. There's no kind of, or maybe it's homemade. I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions on Sally, but...
I think it's homemade.
I think she spent about a penny on that card.
It says, best wishes, Sally, Richard, Alistair and Finn from Wallington in Surrey. So thank you very much indeed. It's very kind of you to send me that picture. Thank you. You meet a lot of people and you say hello to them. And
how come you never mentioned it?
Well, to be honest, I didn't want to sort of big myself up as being as more popular than you,
I'm very worried. I'm just worried about the boy Finn.
Why?
It also says he's bought a copy of Rooney Tunes.
Oh, has he? Let's have a look here.
Even though he's a Chelsea fan. That costs about the same as the card.
Yeah,
penny.
Finn has learned so much about the art of debate from you both. Finn even has a copy of Rooney Tunes, even when he's a Chelsea fan. But I tell you what, next time I see you... when
are you going to see her again?
Well, I don't know if I bump into her.
Well, did you make some plan to see her again? You obviously gave her your address.
No, of course not.
Well, you obviously gave her your address.
Don't be ridiculous. What do you do around... What do you mean?
Well, where's the card come from?
Well, this address is TalkSport, Mike. That's in,
No, not everybody knows that address.
That's a public address.
No, it isn't.
Well, you can find it very easily.
No, it's not easy to find.
Of course it is.
People are always asking me for that address because they can't find it.
And I was only going to say, put the Rooney Tunes in your bag in case I ever bugged you again, and I can sign that for Finn, can't I? Yeah. OK, very good.
Yeah, right. Then it'll be worth 2 pence instead of 1.
I'm going to ignore that load of drivel. Now then, you keep asking me whether or not I've been in a pub today and all that.
I didn't ask you that.
You did yesterday and the day before.
Yeah, but I didn't ask you today.
Well, I was.
So now you're going to answer questions I haven't asked you.
Well, I'm going to ask the question you asked me yesterday.
All right. Have you been in the pub today?
I did briefly. I had to go in and see somebody. Yeah.
See someone?
Who? A person about an issue.
A person about what?
An issue I had to get sorted out. Well, I can't tell you that.
Why do you have to meet them in a pub?
Well, because that's a meeting place where you can sit down
can't you meet them in a
table.
coffee shop?
I don't drink coffee.
Well, you don't have to drink coffee.
No, well, you do if you go in a coffee shop.
No, you don't.
Which is usual.
Well, you don't. You can
I don't know why you're being so pedantic.
Well, no, because I'm saying you don't have... The trouble is with you is you think the only place you can meet someone is in a pub.
Yeah.
And, there's lots of places you can meet outside of a pub.
A pub goes for conviviality. Anyway, what I was going to say
to you...
well, this is the point. I didn't want to drink, so I ordered...
It's unusual.
I ordered half a cider.
Half a cider?
Half a cider. Right?
What sort of cider was it?
It was the Strongbow.
The Strongbow?
Yeah. So, anyway, I noticed, you see, with my eagle eye, that the price of the cider is £3.50.
What, for a half?
No, a pint.
£3.50 for a pint.
Right.
Is it Wetherspoons?
No, it's not Wetherspoons, no. Anyway, when I'm given this drink, and I bought a drink for the person I was with, I knew the cost of the other drink.
So £1.75 for the half, was it?
No, this is the very point. I was charged £2.25 for the half.
For the
cider.
half?
Yeah.
Ah.
Now,
see, that's clever marketing. That's the free market for you.
Now, I I very, very rarely do this, but I said, excuse me, I said...
You make a scene over 75p.
I said,
hey?
Have you got this right? And they said, well, I said, a pint of cider is £3.50. It says on that label there. He said, yes. I said, and you've charged me £2.25 for half a cider. Yes. I said, but half of £3.50 is £1.75.
Yes.
Where's the extra 50p come from? And they said, that's the standard price for a half.
Yeah.
I said, but you're cheating and robbing me. I said, no, I did.
Well, they're hardly robbing you, are they?
They are.
Well, 50 pence.
Yeah, I said...
I mean, you wouldn't even stop to pick up 50 pence.
Hang
on the
on,
street.
I said the quantity of fluid in this glass is exactly half a pint. Do you agree? And they said yes. I said the glass is half the size of a big glass, therefore I'm using less of your materials in this pub than I would if I was drinking a pint. Do you agree? And the guy was sort of bemused and said...
Well, you're saying it costs less to wash a half-pint glass?
And to manufacture and
What?
buy
Why?
a half-pint glass.
Why?
Because a half-pint glass is cheaper than a pint
No,
glass.
it's not.
Of course it is.
No, it isn't.
Of course it is.
Absolute rubbish.
Of course it is.
If
Anyway,
you have to make a glass, right,
Yeah.
you have to buy all the equipment that makes glass.
Yeah,
Once
yeah,
you've got
yeah.
all the equipment,
Yeah.
it makes no difference whether you're making a small
Anyway.
glass or a big glass.
Anyway, so
What do you mean anyway?
I convinced the guy, because
Yeah.
of my superior intelligence, that my argument was very sound, right? He then went off to find his manager.
Is he a dunce, this guy?
Well, I mean, he was a very nice barman.
Was he?
So
Barman?
So he goes off to find his manager and come back. And I then explained this issue to...
How long does this take? I mean, you could have finished the half pint by this time and had another half.
Probably about 5 minutes.
Right.
About
And
5
how
minutes.
about your mate who you were seeing for an important meeting?
Well, he'd gone to sit down. I told him to go and sit down. I joined him in a minute. He only had an orange
What
juice
did he have?
anyway. Orange juice.
Orange juice?
Yeah, so I knew exactly how much that cost.
So you went to a pub
Yes.
for a meeting with a guy who doesn't drink.
Yes.
And you got a row about 50 pence, which lasted about 5 minutes.
I didn't get into a row. I just felt that I had to establish a principle here. And the principle is...
Yeah, but it's a very well-known thing that they do in pubs.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's never happened before.
For the same reason that they
No.
will sometimes say to you, if you order a short,
Yes.
would you like a double for an extra £1 or something like that?
Right, yeah.
Which also doesn't mean that, the double the measure that you're getting, you're paying twice as much for.
Yeah, but hang on.
It works both ways.
Yeah, but on that one, the buyer on this side of the bar is getting a deal.
Not really.
Getting a bargain.
No, they're not.
Getting an extra measure
You
for
see,
less than the price of the first
No, that's
measure.
where you're wrong. They're just making you think that, because actually you can get a double for money which they will give you a single for much more than half of.
No,
you see what I mean?
I don't agree.
You see what I'm saying?
No,
it's exactly the same thing.
That works on the principle of numbers, i.e., the more you sell, the more profit you're turning over. Therefore, it's to their advantage to sell you another
but it's
measure
the same model.
of the same size.
Yeah, but they're making the same model.
No.
They're just doing it a different way around.
What they're doing
You've been duped.
What they're doing is they are victimising the customer
Victimising.
rather than the establishment. And
You know what I would have done if I'd been the barman?
What?
I'd have thrown you out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well...
I would have said, get lost, don't come back, and here's your 50p.
Well, fortunately...
Shove it. Go and shove it.
Yeah, fortunately, this was a civilised establishment, and they explained to me in, what they thought were liberally economic terms.
What was the name of the pub?
I'm not going to tell you.
All right.
I'm not
You
telling
sure
you.
it wasn't
I'm
a Wetherspoons?
No, it was definitely not a Wetherspoons, no. And...
Hurry up, anyway.
And anyway, I made my point, and...
So what happened in the end?
Well, I told them I'm never going in there again.
Oh, so they didn't give you the money back?
No. Why do you think that is so funny?
So you told them in no uncertain terms,
Yes.
I'm never going to come back in here again?
No, I'm not.
Well, you certainly won that argument.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
What a plank.
No, I did.
Absolutely
It's
ridiculous.
my choice. I can spend my money where I like, and I'm not going to get ripped off.
Did you drink the cider?
Yes, I did. Yeah, in one.
Did you have
front
another
of the
one?
guy. No, I didn't. I left. I downed it in one.
What about your mate then?
Well, I took it with me.
What an absolute idiot.
Well, I'm sorry,
You're
but
a complete idiot.
No.
At the time.
It was a point of principle.
No.
It was a point
Well,
of principle.
you made yourself look a complete and utter
No, I didn't.
moron.
I embarrassed them.
No,
and
I
let
don't think
them
so.
know that they, not taking me for a mug.
Well, how about half a mug? This is Talk Sport.
When you need all the latest form and odds on all the day's sporting action, and you need it fast, you need the Coral Daily Download. Get all the latest news and great offers on all the big games and all the biggest race meetings in one essential package. Delivered to your ears at the speed of sound. Don't miss the Coral Daily Download every morning on the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast from 6 on Talk Sport with Coral. Your best bet for breakfast.
Only one feature of the new Mini Cooper Clubman demands more attention than its striking design. Spacious interior, seating for 5, and satellite navigation as standard. And that's the stunning offer. So let your head be turned by the new Mini Cooper Clubman. From £239 a month, plus initial rental. Book a test drive at your nearest Mini Centre or mini.co.uk/offer. 48-month hire agreement from Mini Financial Services, £3,059 initial rental, subject to status, guarantees may be required. Available for new vehicles ordered by 31st of March and registered by 30th of June. Participating retailers only. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle. Visit mini.co.uk/offer.
An attack has decimated the British capital.
What do you want?
London descending into chaos.
This March, London will fall, and a hero will rise.
Stay with me. We'll get you out of here.
Gerard Butler, Aaron Eckhart, and Morgan Freeman.
Get down!
Don't miss the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh, my God.
London Has Fallen, in cinemas now. Rated 15.
Whether you're a butcher, baker, bar owner, onesie tailor, mechanic, optician, cat groomer, bespoke dog suit maker, exotic fruit seller, jeweller or landscape gardener, employers across the UK, however small your business, will soon have to offer a workplace pension, even if you employ just one person. Don't ignore the workplace pension. It's the law. To find out what you need to do, when to do it, and for help through the steps, visit workplacepensions.gov.uk. This ad is brought to you by the Pensions Regulator, a public authority set up by the UK government to regulate work-based pensions.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Talk Sport with the new Ford Ranger. It's the breakfast show that's always ready to take on any challenge.
Join me, Alan Brazil, and a different co-host every weekday morning from 6 a.m. as we tackle all the big stories of the day.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6 on Talk Sport with the new Ford Ranger. Ruthlessly tested across the harshest terrain on earth. Find out more at ford.co.uk.
Don't phone your mother. Phone Talk Sport.
Football on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Athletico Radio.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. Porky Quiz time tonight, of course, on Muhammad Ali. There's an exhibition coming over to the UK, and there's going to be 10 questions on that, and we'll see whether Porky knows as much about Muhammad Ali as he claims. Now, an awful lot of people are taking exception to your behaviour in this public house.
Why?
How about this one from Jim, who says, at IROMG, is Porky the only person in the world who doesn't realise a half pint costs more than half the cost of a pint, like slices of cake, etc.?
No.
Andrew says this.
I can't accept it.
Affluent Porky moaning over 50 pence. Hashtag Porky prices. And Edmundo says he's being a hypocrite. I'm sure he was calling people who have half pints in pubs a few months ago half bakes.
Yeah, well,
which is true.
Well,
you said anyone drinks half a pint is an idiot.
Well, on a regular basis, but there was a reason for me having to drink a half pint today. A, I didn't want to drink. B, I had my car with me because I just had my tyre fixed. Right?
What do you mean your tyre fixed?
Oh, I bust my tyre, and
well,
I
you told us about it. Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know you were going to actually get it fixed.
Well,
I mean, that was my advice to you to get it fixed.
Yeah, well, I did. I went and got it done.
So did it finally blow then?
No, but I was worried that it might. So, I'm
So I hope you took it to Mercedes.
Smarter than the average bear. I didn't. I took it to Quick Fit.
Quick Fit?
And my Quick Fit fitter, who has now...
he's now put about 8 tyres on your various cars.
Four tyres in 2 years.
On 2 cars?
Yeah, in 2 cars. On 2 cars in 2 years. And
I'm not sure you could get a specialist enough tyre for that car of yours.
Well, it cost £161, which I thought was a bargain. And,
but you don't want to go for a bargain when you're talking about risking your life.
No, it was the proper tyre.
I'm not sure it was.
But
I don't think so.
They had to get it from another sort of depot and all that kind of stuff.
No, because I told you that, when I got mine, and this is many years ago, on just a C-Class Sport, £250 each for the tyres.
Well, you got ripped off.
No, I didn't. I didn't pay for them.
Yeah, you must have been.
No, it was a leased car. Well, they paid for them.
That was probably why you got ripped off.
They
probably thought, he's not paying for it. Bang, bang, bang. Here comes the cash register. You know what I mean?
You can't mess about with tyres. I mean, tyres are the things that make your car, stop in time. Make your car, you have to balance everything out.
Well, the connection between your car and the road.
Did you get the same tyre put on the other front wheel?
No,
because you can't have 2 different tyres.
Well, it's not different, is it? He replaced the tyre with a new tyre, that's all.
But how do you know it's the same tyre?
It wasn't the same tyre. One was made by Michelin and the other one was made by Dunlop.
Well, so it's not the same tyre.
Well, I said to him, I thought the tyres had to be... He said, no. He said, it's exactly the same tyre, just a different manufacturer. No. He's an expert. He knew what he was doing.
I don't think so.
Anyway, what about these people who are whinging about the price of beer?
I'd be very careful if I were you.
I don't need to be careful.
How about this one? From Paul in Hockley in Birmingham. Perhaps Mr. Parry could have an implant to convince him he's a broadcaster. Now, that would be a scientific breakthrough.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Si the Trucker says, did you say chimps or chumps? After that last rant, Porky's proved himself to be a chump.
What?
And here's one that was in favour of you from Jack in Stockport.
Right.
He says, I'm with Parry. We are used to northern prices.
Yeah.
In some pubs, you get a pint of beer for £2.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. I can get a pint of Ruddles beer in Wetherspoons.
In Wetherspoons?
Down in Gosport.
Yeah.
For £1... I think it's 26p.
£1.26.
Yeah, or £1.36. It's amazing. It's amazing, and it's good.
How can they even
beer.
sell it for that?
I've no idea, but they do.
Well, I can't believe they're giving any money to Ruddles. They must be squeezing the pips out of them.
I've no idea. When I was a student, right, we used to drink at a place called the Grove Hotel on Lenton Boulevard in... What are you laughing at? What's the problem? What is your problem?
This guy Mike says, Porky pays £160 for a tyre and then doesn't want a full pint of cider for an extra 50p.
Well, I mean, look, it's not. I don't price up the cost of tyres. You just have to pay for it.
But I mean, you spend £160 on a tyre, and you're moaning about 50p being overcharged for half a glass of cider.
It's the principle.
What sort of a maniac are you? He actually says, "What a tight arse."
No, you know I'm a man of principle. You see, this is unfair. You know I'm a man of principle.
You're the least man of principle I know.
Anyway, listen. When I used to drink at the Grove Hotel on Lenton Boulevard in Nottingham, right?
Yeah.
Near to where I lived, in Harlaxton Drive in Nottingham.
Don't give away the address. There'll be another pilgrimage going there this weekend. What number?
149.
149 Harlaxton Drive.
Yeah, Nottingham.
So to send a message to the guy who went to see your place in Chester at the weekend.
Right, that's right.
Now you can go to Nottingham this weekend. Check that one out.
Well, he could if he wanted to. Yeah. Anyway, the point of the story is...
What is the point of the story?
Is that when we went in there because it was the cheapest beer in the world.
Yeah.
It was 17p a pint.
Really?
No, it wasn't. I've got it wrong. It was 11p a pint.
11p?
It was 11p, honest to God. And this was like 1970
something or other,
or something, you know. But it was 11p.
I'm sure that I was drinking around the same time. I can't remember what it cost back then.
It was 11p a pint. But you got half a pint for 5.5p.
Right.
That's the point, because when we ran out of money, when students don't have any money, at the end of the night, it was, down to our last few pence.
As I seem to remember when I used to work in Louis' Patisserie,
right,
where there was quite a lot of drinking going on from morning, noon and night.
Yes.
I used to get sent over to the off-licence, which was opposite in Hampstead,
right,
to buy bottles of Veuve Clicquot.
Okay.
And I think they were about £12 then. Would that be right?
Well, that sounds very expensive.
Maybe not.
30 years ago, 40 years ago, or whatever. Yeah.
No, it was about 75 around.
I remember.
74,
I can remember this. I used to have a girlfriend in Strawberry Hill.
Yeah, Strawberry Hill forever.
Just outside Twickenham.
Yes.
Yeah. Funny.
You used to have a teacher training college there.
I think still have. It's now the University of Middlesex.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Was she a teacher trainer?
No, she wasn't. Funny enough, actually, she taught bank managers how to bank. She worked at... No. She worked for Barclays Bank. They had a training centre in Teddington, right, which is nearby.
Indeed. There's a lock there, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. So you got Twickenham, Strawberry Hill, Teddington, Teddington Lock.
St Margaret's is around that way as well.
St Margaret's is absolutely right there. And I used to leave Fleet Street. If you could ever get out of Fleet Street, because we all went in the pub after work.
Well, it's quite easy to get to down there. You jump on that fast train from Waterloo.
No, we all had cars in those days. You had the company Cortina, so you had to get the company Cortina out of the company car park and get away without getting into the pub first for obvious reasons. You know? And I used to stop at an off licence just on the. Just where the level crossing is in Strawberry Hill.
Yeah, well, I don't know where that is.
It's where the train comes out of Strawberry Hill.
Well, I might have been on a train going through it.
Yeah,
but why would I know where the level crossing is?
But there's and I used to buy a bottle of champagne because she liked champagne.
Oh, yeah. And what was her name?
Her name was Susan.
Susan?
Yeah. And,
no, this is a new one.
Hang on.
You haven't mentioned this one before.
And she would have the dinner on. Right?
The dinner?
Yeah, because she was...
She lived there?
She lived in an apartment in Strawberry Hill. Very nice little apartment, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, she only had 10 minutes to drive home from Teddington.
Right.
Whereas I wouldn't leave work till
So this was
6.
like a sort of a proper relationship then? She was cooking dinner for you?
Oh, absolutely,
You stay the night?
Of course I did, yeah. Well, I was with her for months, actually. In fact, I went out with her until the day I left for America the first time to meet you for the first time.
And what did you tell her when you left?
Oh, that, you know, I would still love her and all that kind of stuff. That lasted one day. That lasted till I
Is she not the one that came looking for you? Did she come looking for you?
She did, actually. Yeah, funny enough.
Because you have told us that story, but you didn't tell me her name.
Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. So
you broke her heart, in other words?
Well, it was a complicated mix of emotions. But anyway, the point is, I remember distinctly, I used to stop at the same off-licence, 2 or 3 nights a week.
Well, I'm glad you remember the off-licence distinctly.
Hang on. And a bottle of champagne cost £5.
£5? £5. Well, maybe that was the cheap stuff.
It wasn't cheap stuff. It was
sure
Moët Chandon. Moët Chandon cost £5.
Right.
No doubt about it.
So what do you make for dinner normally?
Oh, like a casserole.
Casserole?
Yeah, she's big into casseroles.
Yeah.
Spaghetti bolognese.
And did she what was she, when you got there?
Yeah.
It was all, was it sort of straight down to business or was it dinner first?
What sort of a question is that? See, that's your, That's your
I'm just trying to picture
morals
the scene.
of an alley cat.
I'm just trying to picture the scene.
Morals
well,
of an
if you're in love with
attitude.
somebody and you have a normal relationship,
yes.
the food normally comes second.
Well, I'm not answering that question. I'm not getting into the smutty.
I'm just trying to imagine the scene.
Oh yeah, well, don't imagine the scene, okay? Because it's too distressing for me to imagine the sort of things you get up to. So you walk in through. You walk in through the door of some lady you're going to see, and immediately you've got her turned over on the stairs, and you're rogering away, are you? And all you can hear from the kitchen are bubbling pans of food, kettles whistling. Yeah. But no, you're oblivious to it just to satisfy your morals and alley cat needs. You're a disgusting individual.
That's a nice story for your mate Finn.
Yeah, you really.
The family show.
No, young Finn.
This is Talk Sport.
Young Finn, cough your ears.
She keeps a Moet Chandon in a pretty cabinet. Let them eat cake, she says, just like Marie Antoinette. Building a remedy for Khrushchev and Kennedy. At any time, an invitation you can decline. Caviar and cigarettes, well versed in etiquette, extraordinarily nice. She's a killer queen.
Always nice to hear a bit of Freddie Mercury, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed it is.
Very nice indeed. Now, I've got one here from...
What a loss he is to the world,
Yeah,
Freddie
I know.
Mercury,
but luckily, his legacy lives on, so we can listen to his music.
But again, it's the same as, the man who has no name. You wonder how many other...
Well, the man who can't be named, you mean?
Man who can't be named.
Yeah.
You wonder how many other great records Freddie Mercury would have been responsible for had he lived. Do you know what I mean? He was such a genius, wasn't he?
He was. Tremendous.
I used to think he was 95% of Queen, but in fact he wasn't actually, because Brian May was very instrumental in writing some of the records. And even...
Yeah, but he kind of was 95% of Queen, because without him, what's the point?
Mike, you're so right. He seemed to write most of the records. He seemed to produce a lot of the records. He played a lot of the instruments.
But he was
not just the piano.
He was their entire soul.
He was their lead singer, and he was their icon, wasn't he? So he was kind of.
Brian May, is a fantastic guitarist. But what's he doing now? Protecting badges, right?
Don't mock him for that. I mean,
I'm not mocking him. I'm just saying that's what he's doing.
The man is also an astrophysicist, so he has a great value to the world. And
he hasn't really great songs, has he?
I don't know.
He hasn't.
I can't answer that. Roger Taylor, who was the drummer, right? He actually wrote the record which is most aligned to what you and I do, Radio Gaga.
Oh, yeah.
And he wrote it, but then...
Well, I mean, you speak for yourself on that one.
What?
Radio Gaga.
Well, no, radio, the word radio.
No, I was thinking Gaga.
No, well, I think you're Gaga. But anyway, the point is going to make it.
We've got Tommy Smith to talk to.
Yeah. Well, Tommy will be interested in this. Even when Roger Taylor wrote this record, Radio Gaga, he only wrote the basics of it. He said, then I sent it to Freddie, and then it turned into a classic hit. You see what I mean?
Exactly. Well, that's what he could do.
Absolutely.
Now, just before we talk to Tommy, Jim has sent this in at IROMG. Is Parry going to pass on the recipe for the post-Rogerisation casserole? If so, I'll go and get a pen.
I'm not answering questions like that, honestly. Morals and alley cat.
Right, let's talk to Tommy Smith from ESPN. Tommy, very good morning to you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Good morning, Mike. That's okay. I was getting a history lesson and, pop music.
Yeah,
quite right, Tommy.
Well, don't believe a word of it because, he never normally gets anything else right. Yes. Now, massive weekend coming up, Tommy. Obviously, everyone's looking forward to the Arsenal-Tottenham game. But before we get to that, I don't know if you've seen a story in the back page of the Mirror on which it says that Joe Hart is out and Manuel Neuer is in at Manchester City when Pep Guardiola gets there.
Yeah, well, I suppose you could believe those things, or maybe, I would imagine Pep Guardiola might be in for a huge surprise. I wonder, everybody tells me how great a manager he is. I asked the question of Rodney Marsh today. I said, I wonder how could he manage in the Europa League if it comes down to that?
Well, it could do, won't it?
It could come down to that, right? It doesn't matter who he has in goal, who he takes in as a goalkeeper. It won't make any difference at this stage if they don't qualify.
Well, I mean, the other problem, of course, is that if it turns out they're not in the top four, maybe he won't come. Maybe he'll just decide to stay where he is or just take another sabbatical.
Yeah, I guess, but I would say that probably, they really screwed it up announcing it when they did. They screwed it up on both sides. Bayern Munich were beaten yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich are now in what looked like an easy victory in the championship for them. All of a sudden, if Dortmund beat them on Saturday, they're just going to be a couple of points there at the top of the table. So I think the announcement screwed up Man City and Bayern Munich. I don't think they should ever have made it. If you were going to make it,
I don't think it was their conscious decision, was it? It was Manuel Pellegrini that blew the gaff on that, wasn't it?
Oh, what?
on the whole point of Guardiola coming and Pellegrini leaving and all that.
Well, Pellegrini needed some dignity in that, didn't he? But the thing is, Tommy, if this is true, doesn't it indicate that a whole new football philosophy is coming to Manchester City? Because Neuer is the first of what might be a breed of goalkeepers who actually become the 11th outfield player, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he has that kind of control over his feet, and he has that kind of a head that he can use it. Yeah, there's no question about that. But I mean, we all know, guys, it's not going to be any surprise. I mean, he's going to have to probably make 5 or 6 changes at Man City. Changing the goalkeeper is not going to help him. He's going to need a lot more help than a goalkeeper.
Yeah, but if you start with the goalkeeper, you're changing the whole lphilosophy. I mean, the late great Brian Clough said the first thing he had to do was go and buy Peter Shilton, because unless you've got a goalkeeper like that, your defence is all over the place. You start at the back and move forward. And if that's the case, then he's going to go after the world's best goalkeeper, but not just the world's best goalkeeper, the world's most constructive goalkeeper. That's the point.
That's true, yeah, that is very true, because, I mean, he could play as a sweeper, this goalkeeper.
Exactly.
He's that good. But, when Pellegrini last week thought with his willy instead of his heart, he won a piece of silverware. So, I mean, where do you go with these goalkeepers?
Yes, well, I mean, you could well be right in the sense that the philosophy might change, but the goalkeeper himself has to be of quality.
What do you make of Joe Hart, anyway, as far as the England situation is concerned? Because obviously, he's England's number one goalkeeper. Yeah. But, I mean, the one thing about Joe, he can play tremendously well, but I've got this kind of image in my head of Joe Hart, and I saw it at Liverpool the other night, where he makes these spectacular dives to get the ball, but he doesn't seem to get anywhere near it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's solid enough, guys. He's solid enough, but you just say to yourself, there must be another level that you have to go to if you're going to be... If England have hopes of winning the Euros and Joe Hart's going to be in goal, there has to be another level that this man goes to. And I mean, I just never see that level. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe it's just because you're blind at looking at... I mean, you see guys like Buffon or you see guys like Neuer and you say, this is unbelievable stuff. But all of a sudden you see Joe Hart and you say, yeah, he's good. He doesn't make any mistakes. He does the job. But can he get to that next level? I think that's the big question.
Yeah, I don't think he should ever have done those Head and Shoulders adverts, honestly. I think it held him up to... No, I'm being serious. I thought he...
And he does a load of other stuff as well.
He does a load of other stuff. I think he's badly advised off the pitch. He's got, a number of commercial interests, and I think it holds him up to ridicule, and I think that deflects the concentration on him. Can we move on a bit, Tommy, please, because time is short?
Sure.
Speculation mounting that Steve McClaren might have one game to save his managerial career. Bournemouth visiting Newcastle this weekend, a bad result, and 2 or 3 of tomorrow morning's papers are saying that's curtains for McClaren.
Yeah, I can't see Newcastle getting out of it. I can't see Newcastle. They're going to go down, in my opinion.
I think
even against Bournemouth, I just can't see them getting the result. I mean, they're just not playing like a team that really wants a result. I mean, they're in the thick of a battle down at the bottom of the table. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I think they should be showing an awful lot more heart and an awful lot more getting stuck in there, and they just don't seem to be doing that, do they?
No, they don't.
Well, sorry, Mike.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Of course, I don't. But I want to point out to Tom, if you don't mind.
Well, we've only got about a minute left.
Yeah, one of the main issues, Tommy, seems to be the players themselves have stopped believing in McClaren's ability to be a coach.
Yeah, well, when that happens, you're in real trouble. You're up the creek. You know what creek you're up, and you definitely don't have the paddle with you.
Exactly. Now, just one last question, Tommy. Is this the weekend when Arsenal's title hopes vanish into thin air because they lose to Tottenham?
Yes. I think Spurs will win it. I think Spurs are going to be still alive in the championship race. But I know right now Leicester are rubbing their hands and saying, oh, didn't we have some day yesterday and we didn't even have to get out of bed.
Yes, unbelievable stuff. Tommy, thank you very much indeed. Tommy Smith there from ESPN.
Great name, Tommy Smith, isn't it?
It is a great name, yeah. Of course, I mean, I used to watch Tommy Smith play. That was my Liverpool period when my sister was a big Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
And we used to go up on the old Rattler up to Anfield.
I've got his book at home because I've got hundreds of football books.
He's still around, Tommy Smith, isn't he?
He's still around, but he's bad on his legs.
Is he like an ambassador at Liverpool now?
Not really. Don't see a lot of him now because he really is.
I know he's got bad legs.
Knee trouble a lot, but his book's called Made of Iron.
Did you see that story about the former sort of chairman of Liverpool who's had his house robbed?
What? Who's that? John Smith?
No, Moores, I think. Well, I'll come back to you on that.
David Moores.
Yeah.
I know
I'll come back
David
to you on
Moores,
that because we're at the next hour. Because, down in Sydney,
yes,
or in parts of Australia,
yes.
I'm not sure if it is Sydney, but they're coming up with some new regulations for cyclists.
Absolute disgrace.
To wit, what they're going to do is make sure that they're all carrying ID, so that if they're involved in any kind of stramash of any kind,
this is great news.
Then basically they are going to be accountable.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting.
Disgrace that we don't licence them in this country.
And also, I want to ask her why Australia are apparently in the Eurovision Song Contest again this year. I thought last year they put them in as a kind of, a present for the 60th anniversary of the thing.
That's right.
I can't understand why.
Do you know also that Australia are doubling their defence budget now because of the threat of China in the Great China Sea? Yeah, did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I did.
But that's why you're here, to bring us these nuggets of information.
Naval intelligence.
Yeah. Talk Sport, we are the Two Mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on, of course. Lots of interest in your charming story about the lovely Susan.
Oh, yes.
Gemma says, surely the post-Rogerisation meal would be a porky casserole. And here's one from...
Excuse me, I didn't bring any of this detail into it. It was your alley cat-like mind suggestions, which I had to rebut.
Well, I mean, here's one from Goonarus Prime, who says, I must apologise for tuning in late, but good gosh, just in time to hear Mike Parry Rogerising on the stairs before dinner.
No, I said that's what you got up to. Well, I don't get up to it.
I don't know.
I don't get up to it.
And Norman says, great family show, guys. Porky likes it on the stairs.
Well, no,
Finn, close your ears.
No, I didn't. I said that's a sort of alley cat behaviour that you would get up to. I treat ladies like ladies, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right, well, I'm very glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Excellent. How about this one from Craig in Eastbourne? MG and Porky, if you two were drinking in 1972, even if you were 18 years old, that makes you both 64 this year.
Really?
Well, I'm terribly sorry to disappoint you, Craig, but I think I said 1975, actually. When I was 15.
And I'm not 64. And I started drinking a lot younger than 18, believe me.
Yeah, well, most people
14 I was.
Yeah, I think I was as well.
Yeah, I used to go to the pub at 14.
Yeah, well, that was when I was working in Lewis.
I had to get my mate to buy the drink because I was not that tall.
Yeah. Well, you're not that tall now.
Well, I know
you don't have to do it now, do you?
Well, it's a bit harsh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, lots and lots of other texts and tweets to get ourselves into. But let me ask you this about Everton, right? Now that old Mr. Moneybags has arrived, they're wasting no time in getting right up to date with all of the facilities at their training ground. Apparently,
yes,
they're going to have a construction of players' sleeping quarters. It says here at Finch Farm, completed in time for next season.
Yeah,
they're going to have an accommodation block. The first phase of a major revamp of their training complex in Halewood. What do you make of that? What do they need a sleeping complex for?
I don't know. And
I mean, for heaven's sake, surely it's not that far for them to drive home and go for a kip after they finish sleeping, after they finish training.
I totally agree with you. I think one of the first things that Louis van Gaal... by the way, a lot of people have taken up to look at our Louis van Gaal dive.
By the way, how many times did you attempt to send that link out today? And was that in the midst of your argument about the cider?
What was that?
When you were trying to send out the link to the Louis van Gaal dive on Two Mics TV.
Yeah.
You sent about 4 different links which were all wrong.
But I got it right
where did you get them all from?
Got it right eventually. I don't know. So you sent me one. It was the wrong one.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it?
The one I sent you was the correct one.
All right. Well, I got it wrong somewhere. But anyway, the point of my story is I think it was the first thing Louis van Gaal, apart from putting taller trees up to stop the wind blowing across the Manchester United's Carrington training centre, I think he got these pods put in. It's another crazy sort of development in, football training methods where apparently players like to have a 40-minute nap in the middle of a training session or something.
That's a bit mad.
Yeah, it's mad to me. I think it's blinking mad. And I agree with you. If you want to sort of sleep in the afternoon, where's the best place to go? Home to your own bed.
Well, Roberto Martinez says it should have been started. We have had some delays, but that is all done now, and the plans have been very, very good, and it's something we need at the training ground. He says Finch Farm needs to be a place that becomes like a home for the younger players, and for the senior players, they need to have the opportunity of resting here and having 8 hours sleep.
Yeah. Well,
has he not heard your story about having a stroke?
Well, you've got to be aware of all these things.
I mean, he says when they arrive back late from Europe, that's where they're going to go.
What?
Surely if they
Back to
arrive
the
back
train
late
centre?
from Europe,
Yeah.
they go home, don't they?
I thought that most people who know about backs and things like that would tell you to try and sleep in the same bed as often as you can.
Yes.
And not to, keep sleeping in other beds and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. There's a lot of good reasons for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, it's mainly because of your back and all that kind of stuff. So I would say, but I suppose I would say, wouldn't I, that I'm not sure of the benefits of that. But then I'm not a coach or a trainer or a man versed in the ways.
You could always go and get one of those chips put in your head and you can pretend you were.
No, I'm going to ignore that because that's a stupid thing to say. I don't...
You were the one that brought it up.
What?
You were the one that brought it up.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, look, I'll tell you what I want to tell you about. The story I've already told you about the half-pint beers and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, I'm not the only one who gets upset about this, OK?
Upset about what? Lots of people are tweeting me saying, you know, you're supposed to be a great supporter of the British pub.
Yes.
And they're very disappointed in the fact that you don't seem to understand the basic economics of running such an establishment, which is to wit that basically you have to charge more for a smaller pint of beer or a half pint of beer or a half pint of cider.
Right.
Because you can't possibly run a business if everybody came in and had one half a cider.
Listen what I found in a survey, because I won't take the abuse from you.
It's not abuse, I'm just giving you facts.
I've found that up to 82p is being levied on a half pint. So, for instance, in this survey I have here, a pint of beer is £4.25. That's a central London pub.
£4.25,
quite expensive, that. They charge... for a half pint of beer, £2.95.
Yeah.
That is...
that's standard then,
That
isn't
is 82.5p more than the half pint fluid costs. And that's outrageous.
Are you saying it's tax?
That's outrageous.
Are you saying it's tax?
No, I'm saying it's an outrageous rip-off, and people should take the same stand as me.
Well, no, it's ridiculous. No, because the point is you should not be going into a bar and asking for a half pint. You're better off just getting an orange juice.
Well, I'm sorry, but there are ways and means of doing that. Now, listen, I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about.
What?
How do you think you look compared to your age? Do you think you're looking okay or what?
Well, funnily enough, there's an app that you can get,
right,
where you can basically put a picture of yourself on it, and it will give you what age they think you are going to be.
Right.
I think did we not do it a few months ago, where what we discovered was that depending on the expression on your face, you can look older or younger.
Yes, that's true.
And I think when I did it first, when I wasn't smiling, it came up with something like my real age, 55, right? But when I was smiling, it came up with like 43.
That's very good.
So, I mean, I would say that for my age, I don't think I look too bad.
Right. So
considering the amount of punishment I put myself through.
Okay, so as you know already, I've been studying my scientific journals today, because I told you about the Marilyn Monroe effect.
You did, yes.
Plant that in your brain.
Yeah.
The other thing I found out is that the very realistic prospect of an anti-aging cream is now just around the corner. And what it'll do is...
See, again, you can't fight the ravages of age.
No,
there's no point in trying.
No, you see, you don't understand. This is not a skin cream that makes your skin look better, that's old. It's a skin cream that stops your skin from ageing. Literally, the batteries in skin cells...
You can't stop yourself from ageing.
Yes, you can.
You might as well stop with this ridiculous vanity project that you've obviously discovered. Because only the other day you were telling me how people could stop themselves from turning grey-haired.
That's right.
Absolutely ridiculous.
No, I'm into these things. The batteries in skin cells run down over time.
Batteries?
Yeah, there are batteries in your skin cells, There are.
No, that's a euphemism, surely.
No. Honestly, there are batteries in your body.
What, AAAs or what?
Oh, don't be ridiculous. The batteries in skin cells run down over time, meaning that they struggle to proliferate or repair themselves.
Yeah.
Yet these batteries... Hang on. These batteries... They're human batteries, could be kept fully charged with a treatment that tops up a basic chemical cycle, right?
Yeah.
Most anti-aging products rely largely on moisturisers to give the appearance of youthful skin. Some try to stem the damage from chemicals that are thought to contribute to the wrinkles, such as free radicals, but...
Free radicals?
Yeah, free radicals, yeah. And it also, some of them rip out the electrons out of the compounds in our bodies, OK?
What are you talking about?
But what scientists have now discovered, and by the way, this has been discovered at Newcastle University.
Oh, Newcastle. Right.
YI, man.
Polytechnic of the North East, presumably, do you mean?
Well, you know who studied there, don't you?
Was it Vera?
Vera. She studied criminology.
Is that on this weekend?
No, I think it's on Sunday.
Is it?
Anyway, it says, scientists at Newcastle University believe they've discovered a tool... Right, a tool, yeah. Well, like
there's a lot of that about.
A human tool. They looked at skin samples.
Steve McLaren they've discovered.
And they found mitochondria, right?
Mitochondria.
Which are tiny peripheral structures that generate the cell's energy. These are the batteries. Were spluttering because an enzyme. What are you
talking about?
An enzyme that powers the lower level of skin was winding down. Right. This was all written in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology, What's your problem? What is your problem?
It's just nonsense.
It's not.
It's absolute cobblers.
It's not.
I mean, I'm sorry I missed this week's Journal of Dermatological, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I read my journals, and that's what it says. The Journal of Investigative Dermatology.
Yeah.
The expert, Mr. Mark Birch-Makin.
Birch-Makin?
Birch-Makin.
Is he double-barreled?
Yeah, that's right. He says research means we now have...
Sounds like something you do in the Wild West.
We now have a specific...
What are you doing? Birch-Makin.
We now have a specific biomarker, a target for developing and screening the anti-aging treatment that we can now inject into cosmetic creams.
Why are you talking like a robot?
What?
Why are you talking like a robot?
And the metabolic enzyme found in the batteries of the skin cells
That's a load of metabolics.
Has been conquered. So how about that?
Yeah, how about that?
It decreases bioenergy in ageing skin.
Super.
Right?
Tremendous.
Okay.
Thank you. Finished now.
Well, have you got that?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
See?
It means absolutely nothing to anybody.
It's another contribution of mine
nothing.
to the future of, the human body.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something about Salford coming up next,
What?
Salford, that place where the BBC operate from. We went and did a show up there, the Lowry.
A sellout show at the Lowry
Yeah,
Theatre.
that's right, yeah,
Very
Salford
good night.
Keys.
Yes.
Something terrible's happened up there.
My God.
This is Talk Sport.
Still haven't signed up to TalkSport's £1 million football game? Why not? There's a million good reasons why you should. The Selco Predictor. Play to win £1 million and a different prize every week.
This week, beat Alan Brazil's predictions and you could win a framed England shirt signed by famous crisp salesman Gary Lineker.
Download the Selco Predictor app now on your smartphone and use your football acumen to win great prizes. The Selco Predictor. Sign up for free now at talksport.com/predictor.
Only one feature of the new Mini Cooper Clubman demands more attention than its striking design. Spacious interior, seating for 5, and satellite navigation as standard. And that's the stunning offer. So let your head be turned by the new Mini Cooper Clubman. From £239 a month, plus initial rental. Book a test drive at your nearest Mini Centre or mini.co.uk/offer. 48-month hire agreement from Mini Financial Services, £3,059 initial rental, subject to status, guarantees may be required. Available for new vehicles ordered by 31st of March and registered by 30th of June. Participating retailers only. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle. Visit mini.co.uk/offer.
Even if you are driving high, you've got no reason to be pulled over, have you? It's not like the weed is affecting you. Anyway, you know these roads, and the police can't tell you're stoned, can they? It's not like your eyes are red or you're acting a bit strange. You'll be fine. Except if you get pulled over, the roadside swab will be able to tell that you've done drugs on the spot, leading to a criminal record, a minimum 12-month driving ban, and a large fine. Think. Don't take drugs and drive.
Hello, Darren. You here again?
Yeah. Pump 7, please. And these.
Must have been a long drive. You were only in here yesterday.
Yeah. I had to go to the other side of the country.
And back again in just one day. Well, it's nice to see you.
You too. Oh, and these are for you.
Cheese and onion, my favourite.
We don't mind why you come to Esso. We're just happy that you do. That's why at Esso you earn Tesco Club Card points when you fill up with us. Participating Esso service stations only. Terms and conditions apply. For details, visit esso.co.uk.
As every sports person knows, timing is everything. It can be the difference between standing on the podium and going home empty-handed. It can be the difference between a sweet first touch that finds the corner of the net and the missed kick that ends up in row Z. And when it comes to hereditary hair loss, timing is vital as well. Because the earlier you start using Regain for Men Extra Strength Scalp Foam, the higher your chances of success. An estimated 7.5 million men in the UK experience hereditary hair loss, many of them before they're 35. But fortunately, Regain is on hand with all the information and support you need to help you separate the facts from the fiction. If you've noticed you're starting to lose your hair, you need to understand exactly why it's happening and what you can do about it. And now Regain has an app that gives you support and advice to track your progress and maintain your twice-daily routine. Download the Regain for Men iPhone app from the App Store today and start separating the facts from the fiction at regain.co.uk. Regain contains minoxidil. Always read the label.
The Weekend Sports Breakfast on TalkSport. Come together with the UK's football faithful for a weekend sporting sermon from the Reverend Georgie Bingham and the very irreverent Mickey Quinn. Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on TalkSport. To some people, it's like a religion.
This sounds like a tune from the Muppets or something. What's this?
Well, believe it or not, that is the most played piece of music in the history of music.
How come I've never heard it before?
Right. Now, we had a few, trumpets and all that, and then they stopped, and then you hear that drumming solo.
Yeah, but I haven't heard that.
That's 6 minutes.
I've never heard it before.
That's called the Amen Break.
Is it?
It is the most sampled piece of music in the history of music.
Really?
Yeah, no joke.
Who sampled it then?
Well, believe it or not, it's a group called the Winstons, and they're a Washington, D.C.-based soul group, so I thought I might have come across them when I lived there, but I didn't.
Right.
And they're led by a guy called Richard Spencer.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is who's used the music? Who sampled it?
Well...
not who came up with it.
It's been used in adverts, it's been used in commercials, it's been used in promotional music, it's been taken and used in other songs, other records, other recordings.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking you, though, because I don't recognise it, therefore I don't know that I could necessarily identify who's used it before.
I know, it's amazing. I don't think I've ever heard it before, but it is the most used piece of music, the most recorded, the most broadcast, the most widely, popularly heard piece of music that's ever been written.
Yeah.
And what happened was, in 1969... a group called The Impressions put out this record, top 10 R&B hit. The song was called Colour Him Father. On its B-side was that instrumental that we've just heard of the gospel standard hymn called Amen Brother.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And the Amen Break's emergence started in the 80s with the advent of the electronic sampler, which enabled DJs to create new sound tapes from old records. Something about its syncopated beat, right?
Yeah.
Syncopated beat of that 6 seconds of drumming made it conducive to speed variation, chopping and rearranging.
So what are you telling me all this for?
Well, you asked me where have you heard it.
Well, you haven't told me.
Right.
Who's used it? I mean, has Kanye West used it?
Well, I'm about to tell you.
The Foo Fighters used it?
I'm about to tell you.
Coldplay?
Right, I'll tell you. Now, it's first official release of a compilation for a rap DJ called Ultimate Breaks and Beats. Right?
Never heard of it. No.
Right. That was a collection of rhythm tracks.
Yeah, next.
Right. Next, it appeared on various hip-hop tracks.
Yeah.
For example, it can be heard on Salt and Pepper's I Desire, which came out in 1986.
Well, maybe we should hear some of these songs.
Have you heard that?
Well, no, I haven't. But maybe we should hear some of these songs and see if we can hear it.
Well, hang on. And then NWA's Straight Outta Compton, 1989.
Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah.
That's the name of that movie that came out last year.
Oh, was it?
Straight Outta Compton, yeah.
Oh,
it's supposed to be quite good.
Right, in the early...
Never seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, no. Now, in the early 90s, the Amen Break featured heavily on the British rave scene.
Oh, yeah.
It was on Primal Scream's 1991 Slip Inside the House.
Okay.
Right, do you know about that?
I know about Primal Scream.
You know about Primal Scream?
I couldn't identify hearing that particular thing, no.
And get this, in 1997, it went completely mainstream. Oasis used it in the song Do You Know?
Really?
Sorry, Do You Know What I Mean?
Do you know?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Right, the Oasis song, Do You Know What I Mean?
Oh, yeah.
Right, we'll get that in a minute.
Yeah,
right,
okay.
and I'm listening to that.
I think we should try and match up the what we've just heard and what Oasis have done.
David Bowie used it on Little Wonder in the same year.
Really?
1997.
Okay.
Right, after that, it got onto the Futurama soundtrack and various corporate ads.
Yeah.
According to a website called whosampled.com, it is the most sampled beat of all time.
You're talking about the drum bit?
The drum bit that we just heard, the 6 seconds. Right. It has been used on an astonishing 2,057 different recordings.
So this guy's a multi-millionaire then, is he?
Well, I don't know. Now,
why don't you know?
Here, I've got the question. I've got the answer to that. Now, it was written, as I said to you, by Richard Spencer, right? The Winstons were a Washington, D.C. based...
Yes, you told us all that.
Led by Richard Spencer. Yeah. Right. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Spencer, Richard Spencer, who wrote the song's arrangement and owed the copyright on the track, never received any royalties. Because of... No, seriously. Because of a statute of limitations on the recording in the US, where a suit must be filed within 3 years, they can't claim a cent.
Yeah.
They didn't...
they didn't register it or
they didn't register it.
Oh, dear. See, that in many ways, that's worse than never making it as a musician.
It is,
That must be worse.
It is, isn't it?
When you sit there and you go, oh, look, there it is again.
Yeah.
You know,
The
that'll be the
almond break.
15th time I've heard it this month.
That's right, and I wrote it, and I didn't get a penny for it.
Yeah.
Mr. Spencer wasn't even aware of his song's second life until 1996, when a British record label contacted him and wanted to buy the master tapes. He said, I was still in Washington, D.C., I was attending university, I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
That's amazing.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll try and find one of those little bits of one of those songs, which will be difficult.
The best one for us to get would be the Oasis song, Do You Know What I Mean?
Yeah.
And try and identify it in there.
Well, there's only 6 seconds, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. That is, yeah. But I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Simon's got some advice for you.
OK.
He says, why don't you just ask for 1 pint and 2 glasses? Sorted.
Do you know, that's not bad advice. It's not bad advice, except if you only wanted a half, you'd only want to drink half of the fluid in the pint glass, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but
so what do you do with the other half pint?
Well, you could give it to somebody else.
Well, do you know in Newcastle, when you go up there, as we did, went to that Sandman Hotel opposite St James's Park. Beautiful hotel, by the way. What's the name of the bar
Very
downstairs?
nice. The Shark Bar.
Shark Bar. And the ladies who served the drinks in there were the most beautiful I've ever seen. Were they not? Huh?
Well, they were very attractive, if you like that sort of thing.
That's right. What do you mean if you like that sort of thing?
Well,
you,
I mean,
with your alley cat morals.
Well, no, I would have thought...
chase women like that down the street.
No, I don't. You see,
Yes,
this is
you
where
do.
you've got me completely
I
wrong.
haven't got you wrong
First
at
of
all.
all, I don't chase women at all,
I
right?
think you do.
And secondly, I don't generally go for the kind of tattooed...
oh, they weren't tattoos.
Yeah, they were.
No, they weren't. They were very
elegant. No, they all had
long legs,
tattoos.
Short skirts.
They had short skirts, tattoos.
Long hair. They were lovely girls.
And, you know, they were... women that I would not normally... They're not my type, let's put it that way.
OK, well, that's up to you. Anyway...
Well, it's all very well saying that's up to you. You really maligned me.
Point of story is, when I first ventured to the North East as a trainee journo at the Thomson Regional Newspaper Training Centre in Big Market... I lived in Wallsend.
Did you?
We used to get the train out to, in from Wallsend, and then back at night we had a few sherbets in town.
Yeah.
And then we'd drink in a local pub near to where I lived in Northumberland Street in Wallsend, 92 actually. And
you know what I've noticed about you lately?
What?
You're taking even longer to tell these stories.
Now listen.
You know, you're taking ages to tell the story that doesn't even have a decent ending.
We go in the bar at the bottom of the road.
What's the point of this story?
It's called the Northumberland Arms.
You don't forget the name of everything either.
And a jukebox. And
what sort of carpet did it have?
I don't know.
Did it have inside or outside toilets?
But what you did is, because it was a very northeast thing, very Newcastle thing, you bought a bottle of brown, and the barman always gave you 2 half-pint glasses.
Yeah.
Right? Because during the Depression of the, from the late 1920s to the Second World War, the miners and everybody else couldn't afford to buy more than half a pint, so they bought 1 bottle between the two of them, and they had 2 glasses. They had half a pint each. How about that?
Yeah, well, how about it?
Well, it was a local custom.
The most boring story you told all week.
Well, it's not, because you suggested I should get 1 drink and 2 glasses.
No, but somebody else
I'm just
suggested
telling you it's already been done. That's all I'm telling you. Okay?
Somebody suggested it, that's all. No need to get upset about it.
You're a jerk.
Here's one from Sam in Manchester. Can you ask Mike Parry, did he buy his friend the orange juice in the pub? And how much was it? Or was he too tight to buy his friend a drink as it's over his 50p budget?
No, I did, and it was £1.25. OK.
Here's another suggestion. I think Porky should get back to the pub he was in earlier and order 8 pints of Strongbow and demand he pays less per pint the more he orders. So 8 pints should cost about £8 in total. Then down the lot in one.
No,
that's your kind of logic there.
Nobody in their right mind could drink 8 pints of cider. You might be able to drink 8 pints of beer, but 8 pints of cider would put so many bubbles inside your body, it would kill me. Only
There's
1/3 of my heart
works,
works,
There's no more
mate.
bubbles inside than there is in lager.
Oh, there is.
No.
Oh, there is.
Rubbish.
I'm certain there is.
No, it's just,
I think there is.
It's just the same sort of liquid with a different taste. This is why you have no taste buds.
No.
for alcohol.
Remember, cider is made from apples.
Yeah,
right?
but the cider that you buy from a Strongbow pump, which is electronically processed, it's got no more apple in it than anything else.
Of course it has. It's
Rubbish.
made. Of course it has.
Rubbish.
Whereas lager, of course, is made from hops.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
You know that, did you?
I did, actually.
Oh,
now, as usual, you've talked a load of old cobblers for about half an hour.
No.
And I still haven't been able to tell you about Salford.
Oh, OK.
So we'll have to wait now because we're out of time. And coming up next,
Nobody's
Sandra Lee.
interested anyway.
Sandra Lee is joining us from Australia.
Excellent.
So I hope you're not going to talk over her as well.
Of course not.
This is Talk Sport.
Good.
The Form Zone on Talk Sport with Betfair. Listen to Talk Sport throughout the weekend for Betfair's experts' essential guide to all the latest form and odds as all the big teams face off. Everything you need to keep ahead of the game and make sure you know where the smart money is this weekend. Enter the Form Zone every weekend on Talk Sport with Betfair, where you can cash out in play on single or accumulator bets, so you can take your winnings before the end of the match. Selected markets, conditions apply. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Time for a new 16-plate van. Time for a Mercedes-Benz Citan, Vito or Sprinter. How about 0% APR and a service plan for just £10 a month across the whole model range? There's never been a better time than this March to drive away with a new 16-plate Mercedes-Benz van. Clock's ticking. Find out more at mbvans.co.uk. Business users only. Hire purchase only. Maximum term 36 months. Minimum deposit 20%. VAT at 20% applies. Credit approvals by 31st of March 2016. Mercedes-Benz Finance.
If your fence is the cause of some offence, then don't sit on the fence. Get down to your local Jewson before the end of March. We've got in-size fence posts from only $5.95 and lap fence panels from only $16.99. Fantastic fencing deals at ring fence prices at Jewson. To find your nearest branch, visit jewson.co.uk today. Jewson, fantastic offers made for the trade. Prices exclude VAT at 20%. For terms and conditions, see jewson.co.uk.
The family member who was concerned. The neighbour who felt uneasy. The teacher who was worried. The coach who noticed at practice. And you. Together, we can tackle child abuse. If you suspect child abuse, visit gov.uk/report child abuse to find out who to call.
Bienvenue au weekend sports breakfast avec Michelle Quinn and Georgie Bingham.
Hey! Oh, really, Mickey?
Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on Talk Sport with Benno Vans. It's the breakfast show that cooks up a souffle of sport and a pan au chocolat of pre-match build-up.
There's no need to milk it, Mickey.
The hors d'oeuvre to another big weekend feast of football. The weekend sports breakfast on Talk Sport with Benno Vans. To celebrate 18 years as Europe's #1 van manufacturer, right now it's Van Month. Ooh la la.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
In the next few days, Porky says he's an expert on the man formerly known as Cassius Clay. I haven't seen the questions yet, but I'm predicting, I would say, 4 out of 10.
Oh, really?
I think that's a fairly confident
prediction. I'm predicting 8.
You're predicting 8?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's very good.
I'm an expert
very
on
bullish. Very bullish indeed.
Ali.
Now, let's talk to Sandra Lee, a very, very, very favourite Australian, who apparently down in Sydney, we talked to not a few weeks ago about the crackdown on drinking, right, which you were very upset about. Yeah. Now there's been a crackdown on cyclists.
Which is excellent.
So you can't agree with one and not the other. Sandra, very good morning to you.
G'day, chaps. I'm with Porky.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, the funny thing is, last time we spoke, there was going to be this big rally on the Sunday, which turned into a great big party, and everybody had a good time, and it seemed to be very sensible that the general public were kind of rebelling against this authoritarian crackdown. Yeah. But I've been reading a piece it has to be said, a sort of a cycling-friendly publication down in Australia, and they're saying that this is part of the same movement. This is like the crackdown on freedom of speech and freedom of liberty and all the rest of it, and the cyclists are all up in arms.
Well, the cyclists are up in arms about this, but I say that this is one of the nanny state sort of moves by our state government that I actually thoroughly approve of. Good. Cyclists in this state get away with running red lights. They don't obey the rules. They cause accidents with pedestrians. In fact, one even ran into my dog while I was out walking the dog the other day.
Wow. I hope you sorted them out, Sandra, because that's just not acceptable. I understand that the cyclists are complaining that they've been branded as scum. Well, in my view, they are scum. and
well, obviously that's a bit of a generalisation.
No, they have apparently objected to being branded scum.
Well, of course they've objected to it, but I'm saying you can't call them all scum.
But I understand that some of the rules that are being proposed, Sandra, include a 5-fold increase in fines for offences such as not wearing approved helmets, jumping red lights, failing to provide identification and not having a bell. Well, I mean, all those are really practical things that cyclists should do.
That's exactly right. I'm with you on that. The fines originally for all of those offences were $71 universally, and now they've gone up. The most expensive one is running a red light or riding dangerously, and they've both gone up to $425, which is it's a huge hike, and it's in line now with what motorists have to fork out if they break the road laws. The laws are for everybody too.
Right. Oh, for sure. And I mean, we've got that problem in London where, you know, I've said for a long time that there should be some kind of registration or there should be some necessity for cyclists to get insurance because we've had this ridiculous kind of outbreak of cycle lanes and things called cycle superhighways. Next time you come to London, you know, you'll realise that you can't get around in a taxi at all because everything's been reduced to one lane so they can accommodate a lane for cyclists, which is barely used, 90% of the time.
That's exactly right. The same thing has happened in Sydney. And in fact, one of the cycle lanes that was installed at great cost, I think it cost about $4 or $5 million, just down past Hyde Park, was so underused that only recently the government has taken it out.
Apparently, these guys now have these protests, Sandra, which involve this ridiculously immature idea of cycling around at 2 miles an hour to completely close down traffic in Sydney and all that kind of stuff. Why don't people like you line the streets and go in and, start...
Line the streets?
Yeah, line the streets.
Like suffragettes?
Yeah, that's right, and put the boot in on these bikes, because if you bend the wheel of a bicycle, it can't move.
Why are you advocating violence?
Well, I'm not advocating violence
You're
against the person.
You're always advocating violence.
No, I'm not advocating violence against the person. I'm suggesting that, it wouldn't be very difficult to disable a bike.
You sound like my husband. He says that when if they get fined, they should have their bikes crushed.
Yes, that's true. It doesn't take much to crush a bike. In fact, you could pick it up and chuck it down the road, and that would crush it itself, wouldn't it? So it's not a huge problem.
But I mean, is this going to be? I mean, because what we keep hearing in this country is that there is a possibility of car drivers and pedestrians and cyclists living in some kind of harmony, which at the moment is not working here. I mean, is that ever going to work there?
No, it's never going to work here, I don't think. I think that the cyclists are pretty much an entitled bunch. And they think that they're sort of, they're anti-cars and they're anti-petrol, and they say that they're just sort of actually doing something good for the environment while annoying, pedestrians and cars that are trying to use the road properly.
Yeah, no.
But what about the idea that this is all part of the same kind of crackdown on people's basic freedoms? Because
but you've just asked that question.
No, I haven't. I'm about to tell you what the other crackdowns are. Or perhaps you'd like to say what they are.
No, you
don't know,
continue.
do you? You don't know what they are.
You've just asked Sandra the same
question.
question.
I haven't asked the question
this is
yet.
A mass movement.
No, I haven't asked the
Get
question
on with
yet.
It, then.
Because I'm pointing out that there are things such as making loud noises, being outside after sundown, the moving of the hips and/or pelvis to music in a suggestive manner, right? Things like drinking in a smoking area, busking without a permit. There's a whole list of things which the local council seems to be cracking down on, which does seem a bit draconian, to be honest.
Well, some of those ones are, as we've already spoken about before, but when it comes to the cycle ones, I'm all for them. Although I have to say I haven't heard of any law about not being able to shake your hips or your pelvis when you're dancing.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. But I mean, how about the drinking? Let's go back to that. I mean, did the demo have any effect? Have they decided to row back on that?
Yeah, well, it was a massive success, apparently. There was more than 15,000 people who attended, and everyone walked through the city and into Hyde Park and for a big concert. And everyone had a great time. There was no drama. There were no fights. It was a pretty peaceful event. And it was really what was so interesting. It was across the board with ages. There were your grandparents there. There were people with their kids. It was a really interesting collection of people who were there. It wasn't just sort of young Gen Xers or Gen Yers having a bit of a grunge.
Sure.
Well, I guess the bad news for everybody in Australia now means that Porky will now come back to Sydney on the basis that he can get completely bladdered until 4 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole idea of being been in Sydney. Now, Sandra, just to get a bit more serious for a moment, please, because time is short. Am I right in thinking, because I keep in touch with my mates...
If you ask the questions a bit quicker, time wouldn't be quite so short.
Excuse me. I keep in touch with my mates in naval intelligence here in the United Kingdom that Australia is beefing up its defence budget because of the spreading military power of China in your part of the world.
Well, there's always talk about beefing up our defences for that reason. However, the recent Defence White Paper that just came out last week has got provisions for, X amount of billions of dollars to be spent, but it's not been even budgeted for at this stage. And then the Prime Minister comes out this week and says, well, it's not going to be happening for at least 10 years, so we don't have to even include it in the forward estimates.
Well, that sounds a bit short-sighted.
So it's not true, then?
Well, I mean, to wait a decade...
So your naval intelligence guys have got it wrong,
Well, no. I mean, they told me that, in fact, Australia's going to build submarines for the first time and all this kind of stuff because they realise, the threat of China. But to wait 10 years, I mean, crikey, can any of us imagine the size of the Chinese economy in 10 years' time?
No, that's exactly right. That's the point. And who knows, what else they're going to be doing. They're already sort of shown a few sort of tactical manoeuvres in the South China Seas, which everybody is sort of saying, well, hang on, is that a red flag?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Well, what about the old North Koreans firing missiles into the Sea of Japan?
Yeah.
I mean, do the Australians worry about North Korea at all, or is it considered to be a bit of a sort of a plank-like state?
No, I think the government, the foreign minister this week was talking about how unacceptable the behaviour was of North Korea, but then that's North Korea.
Yeah. Well, that is North Korea, and unfortunately North Korea is so erratic and ruled by such a nutcase that, you just can't rule anything out, can you? And when you can't rule anything out, you have to be prepared for everything. Now, just tell me this, please, Sandra. Is Mother's Day a big celebration?
What?
Is Mother's Day a big celebration in Australia?
Mother's Day?
Yeah, because it's happening this Sunday here in the UK.
Oh, is it on Sunday? Well, ours is celebrated in May, and yes, it is a big deal.
Oh, right, okay.
Of course it's a big deal. It's a stupid question.
No, it's not a stupid question.
Wouldn't you like to know when Mother's Day is in North Korea?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not on Sunday. And also in America, it's not Mother's Day on Sunday either.
No, I always assumed that it was just a silly UK idea to commercially make people go out and spend money on chocolates and flowers.
Well, that's because you're an idiot.
I mean, God never told us to have a Mother's Day, did he? It was just some guy produced chocolates.
He didn't tell you to have a Christmas Day either.
He did, because Jesus Christ, the Son, was born.
When did God tell you to have Christmas Day?
Well, we all celebrate the birth of Jesus, but you don't celebrate, it's Mother's Day, because,
Well, are you going to be celebrating Mother's Day?
Are
you going to celebrate Mother's Day?
Yeah, I am, I am.
So you are celebrating.
Abraham, didn't come down from the mountain with a tablet saying, and today will be Mother's Day, or anything like that.
Well, a Samsung.
No, a stone tablet, you idiot,
You are a complete
What have you got
crank.
against Mother's Day?
I mean, this is the kind of idiot that used to, because he had no friends, right, and no family to speak of.
What are you
he would
talking
work
about?
on Christmas Day, right? And we've all been in those journalistic situations when we were younger, when some idiot would come over because he was running the paper for the day, or some kind of megalomaniac, and say to you, "Can you find out what all the celebs are doing on Christmas Day? Can you find out what they're doing around the world on Christmas Day?" It's the kind of thing he would come up with. And of course, you would say, "Well, actually, they're doing the same as everybody else is doing."
Too
What
boring.
a stupid question.
No, too boring.
I've got a far more interesting question to ask Sandra.
Well,
right?
please do.
And it's about the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Because you know that Australia were in it for the first time last year, supposedly as a one-off, right, for the 60th anniversary, I think, of the Eurovision Song Contest. Apparently they're in it again this year, and I don't understand why.
No.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even anywhere near Europe, and here we are in it. And this year we're putting in a fantastic singer, a woman called Dami Im, who is South Korean-born and was raised in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess they're doing it because last year Guy Sebastian, who was the Australian who went in, he did a pretty good show. He got, I think he came 5th in the end.
Yeah, really, 5th. That's not bad.
Yeah.
When is Kylie Minogue going to represent the country? Because we've had some of our great singers, Cliff Richard, Lulu, people like that. They've represented the country.
Another great question from Porky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had a chance to research this one, Sandra.
Yeah. When's Kylie Minogue going to be your representative?
I think she might be too old.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think
That's
she
a
might
bit
well
harsh,
be.
isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I mean, Porky's
Yeah, she's
too
close
old.
to 50.
It's close to 50, my God.
Porky's
what an
close
age.
to 50, but not as close as Kylie Minogue. There we
Excuse
are.
me.
Sandra, a delight as ever. Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, I've heard of Angela Merkel's expansion plans for Europe, but I really don't think they can include Australia.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got lots more to come. The Porky Quiz on Muhammad Ali coming up in the next 45 minutes. This is TalkSport.
2 TalkSport teams are about to go big as they take on the Heinz Big Soup Challenge on TalkSport. Listen to Colin Murray next Tuesday from 10 as our 2 intrepid teams battle it out live in the studio in a tricky test of sporting trivia, with the winners taking the ultimate prize, the VIP hospitality package of a lifetime. Don't miss the Heinz Big Soup Challenge with Heinz Big Soup. Heinz Big Soup. Go big or go hungry.
Only one feature of the new Mini Cooper Clubman demands more attention than its striking design, spacious interior, seating for 5, and satellite navigation as standard. And that's the stunning offer. So let your head be turned by the new Mini Cooper Clubman. From £239 a month, plus initial rental. Book a test drive at your nearest Mini Centre or mini.co.uk/offer. 48-month hire agreement from Mini Financial Services, £3,059 initial rental, subject to status, guarantees may be required. Available for new vehicles ordered by 31st of March and registered by 30th of June. Participating retailers only. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle. Visit mini.co.uk/offer.
The best news, exclusive interviews and unmissable opinion every week in Sport Magazine. Download your free copy of the UK's biggest sport magazine from the Apple newsstand now.
What do you think?
Oh, that's lovely on you, Jack.
Oh, yeah, it really suits you, Dad.
It's not too much?
No, it's lovely. It's really you.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, it's a fixed rate tariff too.
And better than the other one.
Oh, yeah, that's dead nice.
You shop around for clothes, so why not for energy deals? Switching energy suppliers could save you up to £200. And with our independent guide and links to Ofgem approved comparison sites, it's never been easier. Visit goenergyshopping.co.uk.
An attack has decimated the British capital.
What do you want?
London descending into chaos.
This March, London will fall and a hero will rise.
Stay with me. We'll get you out of here.
Gerard Butler, Aaron Eckhart, and Morgan Freeman.
Get down!
Don't miss the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh, my God.
London Has Fallen, in cinemas now, rated 15.
He's got the numbers on the players, the triumphs and defeats. Got the form on the football weekend and the rumors on the streets. Get all the stats and all the facts with his football form report. Stay on the ball on Friday night with Sky Bet and TalkSport.
Get expert soccer speculation on all the weekend's big games. Stay on the ball on Kickoff, the Players' Lounge, on TalkSport with Sky Bet, making betting better. Cash out before the final whistle with Bet Tracker. Available now on skybet.com. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Important announcement.
TalkSport.
It's an unstoppable strike!
So do the smart thing.
Give us a goal. TalkSport.
Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as hoes. Yeah, but maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate. Mental wounds still healing, driving me insane. I'm going off the rails of that crazy train.
This is TalkSport. We are the two mics. Lots more to come, of course. Got quite a few tweets coming, Mr. Parry.
Yeah.
A couple on the pint front, as well as on on some of the other stuff we've been doing. Well done for standing your ground, Porky, on a half pint.
Thank
the
you.
customer is always right.
Thank you.
Says Donald in Edinburgh.
Thank you.
Peter has done that. You know that app I was telling you about, which is called howold.net.
Right.
They've done one on your picture, and it's come up as 66.
No.
And Peter says very accurate.
A lot of people contact me and say, "Oh, we've looked at your Wikipedia entry," which I've never read, by the way, so I don't know what's in it. And
well, on Wikipedia it says you're 81, which is ridiculous.
82 apparently.
Yeah. It changes every week.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. But this is the app where you actually take a picture of yourself, and you put the app on top of it,
Yeah.
and the app basically tells you how old you look.
Well, I haven't taken a picture of myself, so...
Well, no, but
so
he's
that's-
used the app, but Peter's used the app, and it comes out you look like 66.
Yeah, but he's picked probably my worst picture, you see, so the app can interpret it negatively, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Porky's actually onto something here, says Ian. Amen Break was massive in dance music and is still being used today as a sample.
Really?
And VHP says, well done to Porky for spelling the Amen Break.
Thank
Every
you.
hip-hop and lots of dance music records have used it.
Thank you.
Mark the Taxi says,
See,
please...
once again, I'm ahead of the game.
Well, I mean, I think what people have been surprised about
Yes.
is they didn't know you were in touch with the rave scene.
Well, there you go.
You've never been to a rave?
No.
Really?
No. I wouldn't go to a rave because people take illicit drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the only reason you wouldn't
And
go?
die. Well, no, I don't want to be part of that scene. No, they do. People
was
take
just saying-
ecstasy and die.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I could tell you a funny story about that. But I
Well,
won't.
it's not funny
Mark-
taking pills and dying.
Well, no, it's not. That's not the bit that was going to be funny. Mark the Taxi says, please ask Mike Parry what NWA stands for.
NWA?
Yeah. That was one of the bands you read out.
That would be Northwest something, I suppose. Wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
something like that,
Or something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Alan-
or No Way Around, or something like that.
No way around, yeah.
Yeah.
That could be right.
Yeah.
Alan says, Porky is correct about the Amen Break. There is a whole documentary on it online. It
Ah.
is the basis of drum and bass.
Oh, there you go, you see.
Do you know what
Once
drum and
again,
bass is?
Head of the game. Well, I know what a drum is, and I know what a bass is. Yeah?
Now, you're going to finally let me tell you the story about Salford.
Please,
Because we were
let's
talking
hear it.
about Australia there,
Yes.
cracking down
Yes.
on, what they regard as acts of
Yes.
of antisocial behaviour, right? In Salford, would you believe, Salford Quays, the streets of which we have walked, haven't we? I mean, there's not much going on there. It's pretty quiet.
No,
In fact,
I
it was once
like it.
described.
I like it.
You liked it?
It's sort of the northern version of Canary Wharf.
Yeah, not
it's
at
very,
all.
It's very clean,
Well, you know
very
what? It
clinical.
was described to me
Yes.
by our friend who moved up there,
Yeah.
who used to work here at Talk Sport, as like Canary Wharf without the people.
Right, okay,
Because
yeah.
it's like a ghost town.
It is, yeah.
There's
it is,
nobody
yeah.
around,
It is,
right?
it is, yeah.
Well, one of the things that Salford City Council has done is brought in something called a public space protection order.
Oh, yes.
Right? Which now means that you cannot swear, you cannot use foul or abusive language in the public streets.
What, if you're talking to your mate, you can't
Doesn't matter.
say, you can't sound off to your mate?
No, you can't do that, no.
And what happens if you do?
If you do, it will be a criminal offence.
And who picks you up on it?
Well, whoever happens to presumably be there policing it.
Well, it's ridiculous. So, supposing another member of the public reports you to a passing policeman, how does the policeman prove that you're sworn?
Well, I guess they'd have to come and quiz you and ask you. And
Where's
if you
the
did-
evidence?
Well, if somebody's a witness, I mean, that's like saying, where's the evidence to any crime? If
Yeah,
somebody
no,
witnesses you
it's my
shoplifting...
word against yours.
Well, no, but if somebody witnesses you shoplifting, they can say, I saw that person shoplift.
Yeah, but in a shoplifting case, something has been stolen.
Yeah.
In a case
But
of
if you haven't
used
got
black
it, yeah,
language...
but if you haven't got it on your person, how can they prove you've done it?
Well, it's gone missing from the shop.
Maybe,
Therefore,
the
a crime has happened.
The world has gone so mad. Maybe what they'll do...
It's the most ridiculous...
Maybe what they'll do is they'll drag you off to a police station and then go and obtain the CCTV footage and try and lip read.
It is
to
the
see
most
whether you've done it.
ridiculous piece of legislation in a world where legislation is getting more ridiculous every day.
Exactly.
I mean,
well, you'd be pleased to know
this week about a kid who was reported to the police because, in purely out of curiosity, he went on to some website which explained what ISIS was. Yeah. And he suddenly has got the police knocking on his door saying, are you investigating
So you're
terrorism?
one of those people that would be all in favour of that kind of thing happening.
No, I
if
would
somebody
not.
looks up
No.
ISIS or looks up Daesh or looks up,
not at all.
Islamic Jihad, that you would have the
Not
cops
at all.
around to... Oh, so you think that's all right then?
Well, of course it's all right. If a kid wants to, if a kid's heard Pete talking about it at school and wants to know what it's about, then of course you can look it up to find out what it's all
Well,
about.
yeah, but you're in favour of the government keeping tabs on terrorists, aren't you?
I certainly am, but I'm not. I'm not in favour of the government keeping tabs on 12-year-old kids who are trying to further their education.
Well, how can they tell the difference?
Because they should know that the basis of what the child was doing was not.
Yeah, but they don't know.
Well, of course they know.
Because they don't have the skill or the instrumentation.
Rubbish.
All they have is the fact that somebody has searched for somebody on the internet, and they have to go around and see them.
Well, I bet you there's a million people in this country who've gone and accessed ISIS.
Well, why
on
don't
their
you
computer.
try it?
What do you mean?
Why don't you try it?
Well, I know what ISIS is all about. I know.
Well, look something up and see if anybody turns up at your door.
Why?
Because you can see whether we're under surveillance as much as you think we are.
I'm sure we're under surveillance. It's a good thing. Surveillance is a good
So
thing.
you think it's a good thing?
But not misguided surveillance.
I see. So you're in two minds here.
No,
I think.
I'm not. No.
Anyway,
I know
apparently
what I'm talking
Liberty,
about.
you'll be glad to know Liberty, I don't know if you're a great supporter of theirs.
Yes.
They're taking this Salford City Council to court
to
say they have to get rid of this ridiculous rule.
Well, I wouldn't.
All I'm going to say to you is if we go back to the Lowry, I mean, will we be arrested for swearing on the stage?
Well, that's a good point. That's a good question. Good question. Yeah. I mean, you did
Technically,
swear
that's
a
in
bit,
public,
wouldn't you? I don't swear much on stage, but you are very foul-mouthed.
I might direct people to the live DVD.
Oh, your foulness
of
mouth
now available for download as well as, as you put it, in a boxed set of one.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Go to
what would you describe it then? What would you describe it as?
It's a DVD.
And what's the difference between that and a download?
Well, a DVD is a DVD physically.
In what?
Well, it doesn't matter what it's in. It's a DVD. It's
what
a disc.
Does it come in?
It's a disc.
And what
it doesn't matter what it comes in.
Yes, it does.
It's what it goes in.
It comes in a box, and that's the only way I described it. Why you think that's funny, I have no idea.
Well, it doesn't come in a box. It comes in a case.
Excuse me, a case to most people is something they take on holiday. What's your amen?
Amen. The amen break.
Amen break. That's the amen break, and that was. And that
now,
was...
do you want to listen to the original one?
Yes, please.
And see whether it bears any resemblance.
Right. Okay.
It's a bit slower, I think.
Right.
I wouldn't say you could recognise it from that.
So that's the original.
That's the original.
And then the Oasis.
It'd be bad news for you if I stopped working.
Yeah, it wouldn't. No.
Because you'd be unemployable.
Michael
here's one from Oliver in Wales.
Okay.
Hi, guys. He said, I just want to say, never has a man spoken so much sense. I've been listening to Mike Parry for years.
Thank you.
Love listening to you on the radio.
Thank you.
You are the most entertaining presenter on the radio.
Thank you very much indeed. See, so that's a guy who gets it. You know, he understands sort of club.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mites. There will be a podcast coming out in a little while. Quite a few tweets to read out. Neil has sent us a tweet about your man, Mr. Spencer, who apparently has finally been paid some money for this sample. You know the thing with the amen break that you're talking about.
Yes.
He did one of these GoFundMe type things.
Oh yeah,
and got 24 grand.
Who did?
This guy Spencer.
Oh, well, hang on. This all happened years ago, and that funding thing's only come into
that's only just happened, yeah.
So
that's the one sort of genuinely original and interesting part of the story.
Really?
Which you seem to have missed out.
No, I haven't missed it out at all. I keep in touch with things as they progress.
He's posted a video to Facebook showing his appreciation to all the people who donated to his cause.
Very good.
He says his original goal was just to raise £1,000.
Yes.
But it took off, and he received 1,811 donations inside 8 months.
Well, I'm very grateful to hear that.
So he's got 24 grand.
Well, I'm glad he got something out of it, considering he didn't own the copyright to something he wrote, which is the most published bit of music in the history of the world.
Apparently, the GoFundMe campaign was set up by two British DJs,
yes,
Martin Webster and Steve Theobald.
Good for them. I'm delighted.
So the story's, unlike most of your stories, actually got a happy ending.
Yeah, happy ending. I'm very, very, very glad. Listen, can I talk to you about a taxi driver guy who has been subject to the most outrageous bit of red tape and interference from local authorities.
Taxi driver guy, here in London or somewhere else?
No, actually, I think it's up the way you were talking about, up Salford way, in Oldham. Right? Okay. Oldham, which is in Greater Manchester.
Yes.
You know what happened? This guy runs his own taxi business, and it's one of those taxi companies that only have, a licence to pick up fares who've ordered the taxi.
Yes, so like a minicab.
Yeah, exactly. They can't stop in the street.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy has just done a job. He's just dropped people off, and he's pootling back to his base, and it's raining heavily.
Yes.
Two guys come off the pavement, jump in the middle of the road on a deserted road, and wave him down like this.
Right, trying to get home.
Yeah. So the guy stops, and they say, "Oh, please, can we get in? It's raining. In a hurry." The guy says, "Look, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm licensed only to pick up from people who order the cab over the phone or on the computer or something like that."
Right.
And they said, "Oh, please." So in the end, he said, "All right." He says, "Well, look, don't tell anybody. Just jump in the back. Where do you want to go?"
Yeah.
And it was only about 2 miles, and he charged them £1.20, which is quite generous.
£1.20?
£1.20, yeah.
It's cheap, isn't it?
Sorry, £2.30.
£2.30.
This guy's name is Dennis Street.
Okay.
Charged him £2.30, okay? The two guys in the back then said, "Right, you're booked." And they said, "What?" He said, "We're inspectors or local authority. No. You've picked us up." Yeah, honest to God.
Really?
I'm not joking.
You see, that's not good, is it?
Absolutely. His licence was taken off him. He was suspended. He's lost £7,000 during the time he's not been able to drive. He's now been reinstated because, thank God, on appeal, they said, "Well, hang on, this was entrapment." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guy did it as a favour to these two guys who he thought were literally getting drenched in the rain and to help them out. Oldham Council...
if he originally turned them down and said, look, I can't do it, surely that would be enough for them to walk away.
Yeah. Oldham Council's licensing committee banned Mr Street from driving taxis, which meant he was forced to sell his firm, Streetcars, which employed 11 staff. The 13-month legal battle cost him £7,000 through fines, legal fees and a huge rise in his insurance premium. And it was all because these two guys were so officious they had nothing better to do that day. I mean, that to me, Mike, is an indication of how mean this country has become.
It's true.
You know when the Labour government came in 97, right? The whole atmosphere in this country changed from one of sort of, coessence and living with each other and all that to them and us.
Do you think so?
Yes.
I don't agree with that. You see, I'm one of those...
Yeah, I do.
Lots and lots of people are I watched a debate earlier on Sky, actually, with that guy who used to be Tony Blair's kind of Attorney General.
Yes.
Lord, what's-his-face? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, the guy who used to shack up with.
Yeah, the guy who sort of put him up in his chambers.
That's
and all
right,
that,
yeah.
And it was him against Trevor Kavanagh, basically. And Trevor Kavanagh was actually saying, what Tony Blair did while he was in government was actually quite good.
Yeah.
But it was after he left government that people have now, he's now like the pariah of the Western world.
Absolutely, yeah.
Outside of Margaret Thatcher, he's the most hated man in Britain.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Which I find slightly unfair, because I would have never said that the beginning of the end of that, or the beginning of that kind of thing was actually the Blairite stuff.
Oh, it was.
It was much more Gordon Brown, I think.
Well, it was, but you've got to understand...
I mean, Blair was a kind of centrist Tory, really.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He's a Marxist-Leninist in disguise. Mike, he
Rubbish.
is. I'm telling you, he is.
Don't go along with that
Well,
at all.
I know these things. But anyway, what I was going to say is, the only reason he was able to lead the Labour Party and become Prime Minister was by agreeing to let Gordon Brown run the economy.
Yeah.
So you might as well have made Gordon Brown Prime Minister, because if you run the economy, you run the country, right?
Well, not really.
And what Brown did was, he went to all the local authorities and he said, right, he said, first of all, you can expand the workforce of your local authorities as much as you like. We need to build an army of Labour supporters. Right? So this is why...
That I agree with,
That's when Blunkett invented community service officers, or whatever they're called.
CPSOs
Blunkett's bobbies. It was just, we must have...
these people who walk around and can't do anything.
Exactly. We must have as many people...
They're not allowed to arrest anyone.
We must have as many people employed by central government and local government as possible so that we can run the country by being the main employer, right?
Yeah.
So one of the reasons this guy got done is they then invented all these ridiculous departments, like people who had to walk up and down streets counting trees and all that kind of stuff, because they wanted to swell the numbers of local authority employees, right?
Yeah.
And it became a mean country because the government, the local authorities were then asked, well, how are we going to fund all this? He said, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Put up all your charges. Triple the cost of parking in your streets. Quadruple the cost of collecting rubbish.
Buy a load of CCTV cameras.
Buy a load of CCTV cameras and all. He said that's how you fund it, by massively raising stealth taxes.
Right.
So in the old days, when you went to the old, site to dump your trees, the hedges that you'd cut, and you went to dump it used to cost £2.
Yeah.
It went up to £20 and all this kind of stuff.
Although, funnily enough, I go to the old
country.
I think there is some truth to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I've got an example for you here, which will horrify you.
Yeah.
This was sent in by Jennifer, who's a big fan of ours. She's coming to Dingwalls, by the way, because she lives in Camden.
Yeah.
There's a business that was set up in Hampstead High Street, my old manor. Remember we were talking about a library, libraries working out of phone boxes.
That's right, yeah.
This guy decided to open up a coffee, a sort of snack bar out of an old phone box.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And he went and did plenty of research on it. He's a businessman. And he said that in no other part of the country did he find that he needed a street trading licence to do it. Camden Council turned up and closed it down.
Yeah, exactly.
And said you need a street trading licence. Yeah, and if you open it up tomorrow, we're going to charge you 150 quid.
Yeah, exactly, which costs money. I mean, traffic wardens, for instance, were told there is no tolerance. There used to be tolerance. There used to be a tolerance factor where, you got 5 minutes over, and you'd often find a traffic warden waiting by your car, and you're 5 minutes over, and they'd say, right, I'll let you off this time and next time. They were told there is no tolerance.
Yeah.
In fact, that was the era when we started getting reports of people who were getting tickets 3 minutes before the ticket ran out, not 3 minutes after, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And people who dropped litter in the street, who would have been told previously, excuse me, please don't drop that, put it in a bin, were immediately fined for dropping litter.
Yeah.
And the whole essence of this country became them and us, and it was a nasty authoritarian rule to try and raise money. And that stretches to, a hard-working cab driver being entrapped like that because it brought in money to the local authority. And it's a damn disgrace.
Yes.
It's a damn disgrace.
It is. That is terrible. Got a tweet here from somebody called himself Taxi Crusader, who says, sadly, this level of entrapment has been going on for years on Merseyside.
Is that right?
Yeah, apparently so.
Honest to God, where officials actually pretend to be, a desperate member of the public needing help, and the minute they get in, the taxi driver gets done.
The whole idea of entrapment, I think, is a bad idea.
I think it's disgusting.
Generally speaking,
Yeah. It says here, Oldham Council said special constables were out in operation because we had numerous complaints that there were private hire drivers operating in the area picking up people who were not pre-booked. This kind of operation happens a few times each year. We are not trying to catch people out. We are trying to see if people are complying with the law and make sure they're doing so. But
mind you, I suppose the people, if there are people complaining about that kind of thing, they would be the taxi drivers who are allowed to pick people up in the street.
Yeah, maybe they are.
Because that would be where the complaints would be coming from.
Yeah, but you see, what I'm saying is the element of common sense and human decency has disappeared. This country is now so authoritarian that if you don't do it according to the rule book, and the rule books have been rewritten over the last 10, 15 years, then we become like Soviet Russia, frankly.
Well, I thought you were greatly in favour of Soviet Russia.
No, I'm not. I'm in favour of modern Russia. I was never in favour of Soviet Russia.
Well, let me tell you a story about what's happening in modern Russia, right?
Yeah, go on.
Because you think we're an authoritarian state. There's a bloke called Viktor Krasnov. He's 38 years of age.
Yes.
Right. He posted messages on European social networking site called VK.com, in which he said things like, there is no God, basically, because he's an atheist.
Yes.
Guess what's going to happen to him?
Tell me.
He's going to be put in jail.
Who by?
By the Russians.
But the Russians never used to believe in God anyway.
Doesn't matter.
In fact, I tell you what, when Russia was still Soviet Russia, I went there once with Peter Hitchens, and we went to a Russian Orthodox church service at risk of being arrested, to be honest. Yeah,
well,
I remember that.
Russia's investigative committee, which is the equivalent of the FBI, have charged him, and he's now on trial in Stavropol in southern Russia, and he's going to be sentenced to probably about a year in prison.
Well, I think
for making comments on social media. So that's your great modern Russia.
No. I think he must have been getting done for something else, and that's just an excuse, in my view.
You can't keep covering up for Putin. It can't go on forever. Coming up very soon, it's the Porky Quiz.
Drive on Talk Sport, the UK's only sports-dedicated drive time with Sky Sports. The sharpest analysis on all the day's action from the giants of sport.
Shane Warne is with us on the show. How you doing, Shane?
G'day, guys. How are you?
Laser-guided comment and rapid reaction from a nation of sports fanatics.
Into the corner of the net!
Drive home with Darren Goff and Adrian Durham.
Who else?
Weekday afternoons from 4 on Talk Sport with Sky Sports, the home of the Barclays Premier League.
Dead batteries, an assortment of foreign currency, rubber bands, a padlock without a key, paper clips, an empty lighter, 7 biros, a 60-watt bulb, a cuddly toy, keys to you don't know where, your old phone. Your old phone?
Your smartphone doesn't belong in the bottom drawer when you could earn some money from it. Bish bash dosh. eBay.
What do you think?
Oh, that's lovely on you, Jack.
Oh, yeah, it really suits you, Dad.
It's not too much?
No, it's lovely. It's really you.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, it's a fixed rate tariff too.
And better than the other one.
Oh, yeah, that's dead nice.
You shop around for clothes, so why not for energy deals? Switching energy suppliers could save you up to £200. And with our independent guide and links to Ofgem approved comparison sites, it's never been easier. Visit goenergyshopping.co.uk.
Time for a new 16-plate van. Time for a Mercedes-Benz Citan, Vito or Sprinter. How about 0% APR and a service plan for just £10 a month across the whole model range? There's never been a better time than this March to drive away with a new 16-plate Mercedes-Benz van. Clock's ticking. Find out more at mbvans.co.uk. Business users only. Hire purchase only. Maximum term 36 months. Minimum deposit 20%. VAT at 20% applies. Credit approvals by 31st of March 2016. Mercedes-Benz Finance.
Would that it was simple. Would that it was. Just keep still.
From the Coen brothers, directors of Fargo, The Big Lebowski, and No Country for Old Men, comes the most epic comedy of the year.
Ed Whitlock has been kidnapped. We need you all to look for him.
It's glorious, dazzling, and outrageously funny.
But seriously.
Featuring an all-star cast, Josh Brolin, George Clooney, Ralph Fiennes, Jonah Hill, Scarlett Johansson, and Channing Tatum.
You sure he's the father?
Yes. Pretty sure.
Hail Caesar, in cinemas now.
To celebrate the launch of the new Toolstation catalogue, we're playing New Kicks on the Block all next week from 1 on TalkSport with Hawksby and Jacobs. You'll get 45 football seconds to answer as many silky skilled questions on Euro 2016 first-timers and international newbies to win a top-flight Milwaukee compact drill twin pack every day. Sorted. Listen up and play New Kicks on the Block all next week from 1 with Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport with Toolstation. Find your nearest branch at toolstation.com.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
If you've not already signed up for our Selco Predictor game, you really need to get involved. We've given away some fantastic prizes this season and still have loads more up for grabs. This week, everyone who can beat Alan Brazil's scores for this weekend's fixtures will be entered into a draw to win a brilliant signed and framed Gary Lineker shirt. Head to talksport.com/predictor. Well, there's an app. Search Selco Predictor in the App Store and download it for free now. Now, obviously, it's that time of on a Friday morning where we've got all these games to come. Yeah. So let's do a bit of predicting, shall we?
Good idea.
I mean, it's getting down to the wire for you.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I mean, hopefully by the end of the season, you'll have actually gone into positive territory.
Oh, yeah, I'll get into
At the
positive
moment,
territory.
you're, I think, minus 25.
I'll get into positive territory.
So the first game up, believe it or not,
yes,
12:45 kickoff, is the North London derby, Tottenham against Arsenal.
Yeah, amazing, fascinating game.
Yeah.
I've got to give it to Tottenham. I know they failed the other night against West Ham. Well, they didn't fail, they lost 1-0, but as Pochettino said, the level at which they'd been playing couldn't be maintained for a seventh game. But Arsenal are on the ropes. I'm sorry to have to say that.
And Peter Cech's not playing, is he?
Peter Cech's not playing because he did his groin, didn't he, the other night? Or was it?
Yeah, he did. Well, apparently he came running up towards the end to try and sort of do one of those hero goalkeeper headers.
It was the running back that
and then
got
he
him.
fell over on the way back.
He apparently had been carrying a groin strain, which literally... Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to go here for Tottenham 3, Arsenal 1.
Quite difficult, this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 2-0 to Tottenham.
OK.
I think, because I think, like you, Arsenal have lost the plot. Chelsea against Stoke.
Yeah, Chelsea-Stoke. Can't see any problem there. I hope Chelsea stutter because we're playing them the following week in the FA Cup, but I don't think they will. So that's Chelsea 3, Stoke 0 for me.
I've got 2-1 to Chelsea.
OK.
Your lot up next, Everton against West Ham United, who are on a bit of a roll. You'd have to be worried about this, I would have thought.
Very, very tough game for Everton, this. But I'm going to have to say that, you know, we've got a bit of mojo back. Everton 2, West Ham 1.
I'll go the other way. Everton 1, West Ham 2.
OK.
Manchester City, Aston Villa. You'd have to say, despite losing 3 Premier League games in a row, they can't possibly lose this one, can they?
No, I'm going to say 5-0.
Yeah, I'm going to say 4-0.
OK.
Because this is the kind of team City are, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they can beat Aston Villa, but, you know, they can't beat, teams that you would think they would not have so many problems with. Newcastle against Bournemouth.
Yeah, Newcastle, Bournemouth.
Steve McLaren apparently has one game to save his job. Supposedly, if he loses this game, he's out.
I don't think he will. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 3.
I'm going to say the Newcastle are going to do this. I'm going to say Newcastle 2, Bournemouth 1.
Right.
Next up, it's Southampton against Sunderland.
Yeah, I can't see... Sunderland are battling like mad for their lives, but I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
The problem with Sunderland is they keep letting a lot of goals in.
Yeah, they do.
I'm going to say a 2-2 draw.
OK.
Swansea against Norwich.
Yeah, Swansea, Norwich. Norwich are a hapless-looking bunch at the moment. Swansea have found a bit of form. Swansea 2, Norwich 1.
I'm going to go the other way because I think Norwich might come back.
Okay.
Swansea 1, Norwich 2.
Okay.
Watford against Leicester. This is a big game for Leicester, isn't it?
Yeah, massive game for Leicester, and I think they'll do it. But I think it'll be high scoring, so I'm going to say Watford 2, Leicester 3.
I'm going to go Watford 1, Leicester 3.
OK.
All right. Crystal Palace against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp, fresh from his success against Manchester City.
You never know which Liverpool's going to turn up these
true.
days. That's the problem. And Palace have now tried to revive themselves a bit. And remember, this is
still not very good, though, are they?
Crucial fixture. No, yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to have to go Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 2.
I'm going to say 0-0.
OK.
Just to be awkward. And then finally, West Bromwich Albion. This is Sunday as well, the other game.
Yeah.
Sunday, West Bromwich Albion against Manchester United and Louis van Gaal.
Yeah. Well, I think United have found a bit of mojo, so I'm going to say West Brom 0, Louis van Gaal mean Manchester United too.
This is a team that held Leicester, though, don't forget.
Yeah.
You sure about this?
Yeah, I'm sure about it, yeah.
All right, I'm going to say... Well, it depends, I suppose, if the young Rashford's going to be playing.
Yeah.
I think Roy Hodgson wants to pick him now for England.
It's ridiculous. The minute the young player comes in, 18 years of age, it could be Rashford. Rashford.
I know, mad, isn't it? All right, I'm going to say 2-1 to Man United as well. And don't forget, the live TalkSport commentary game is Watford against Leicester on Saturday.
It certainly is.
So what are you going to do for your certain result and your not sure result? My not sure result is going to be Man United West Brom.
Right.
And my certainty, I think, is going to have to be Manchester City, Aston Villa.
Definitely. My certainty is Manchester City, Aston Villa. Which box is that? Is that the dollar box?
It is, yeah.
That's a
you
dollar
ask me
box.
that every week.
Yeah, okay. Don't
every
worry.
week.
And the one in the middle with the lock on it.
Yes, the green one, yeah.
Right, the most doubtful one.
Yeah.
Most doubtful one for me has got to be... Watford? No, it's got to be Crystal Palace, Liverpool.
Okay. Now, I'm having a chance to ask you about this because there's a very nice picture on the front page of the Daily Telegraph this morning of Laura Trott.
Laura Trott.
Do you know who she is?
Laura Trott. Let me just remind me. Laura Trott
She's
is...
a cyclist.
Cyclist, yes, of course she is.
She just won a gold medal.
Just won a gold medal, right, okay.
In the World Cycling Championships.
Another gold to a collection after winning the scratch race at the Track Cycling World Championships, yes.
Well, since we were talking about cycling earlier with Sandra down in Australia, I thought, we could sort of balance things up. Okay. But also because of your fascination with Victoria Pendleton.
Who is causing mayhem.
And how brilliant you think she is,
Who's causing mayhem at Cheltenham because she's now become such a focal point of the news that on the day she rides, the Cheltenham authorities believe that the race she's riding in, which is not a huge race.
It's the one after the Gold Cup, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. Is it the Fox Hunter Chase or something like that?
I thought it was the one after the Gold Cup.
I don't think it's on Gold Cup Day, actually.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm not sure. But what I was told today was that the Cheltenham authorities are so worried that she's going to suck in so much publicity, it will take a lot of the focal point and the glamour off the rest of the meeting, you know. And they're not sure they want her there, really, but she's determined she's going to be there.
Well, I think if they don't let her ride, that'll be a massive PR blunder.
Exactly, I totally agree.
Because, I mean, it will show up.
Yeah.
I mean, we know in the past that sporting administrations are not exactly brilliant at seeing the light for the end of the tunnel, you know.
Yeah.
But if they say to Victoria Pendleton, we don't want you here.
No.
That will be a massive blunder.
Well, it'd be terribly sexist as well, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Because this is a woman who is a proven sporting hero.
Well, she is,
and you can't deny
she was one of the London Olympic sort of golden girls.
Absolutely, and you can't deny her the opportunity to now do it elsewhere. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Wincanton race the other day.
I didn't know.
She won by about 20 lengths. Right. It was amazing. You know, she got a horse over the last fence. The rest of the field had dropped away, and she was home.
Yeah.
So there's no reason whatsoever why she can't ride at Cheltenham. I mean, unless something, crazy happens. I don't know, a horse or something. But
is it the same day that we're going to be there? We're going to be there on the Friday, aren't we?
We're going to be there on the Friday. I am going to find this out because we need to know this sort of thing.
You know what you also need to do is sort out the train situation.
What do you mean?
Well, because, you need to figure out when we're going to get there, when we're going to come back.
Well, have we had the official invitation to go yet?
Yes, we have, yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Of course we have.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything in writing.
Well, you don't get it in writing. I mean, I've had an email from the guys at Hawksby and Jacobs saying, we'd love to have you down there in Paddy Power's box. It'd be great. But what we have to do is figure out how we're going to get there and how we're going to get back.
Right, OK.
And the last time you made a complete dog's breakfast of it by making us get on 2 trains on the way down and then nearly missing the train on the way back.
Sorry, but I mean,
Well, I expect slightly better performance from you this year.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, mate, I'm not a travel agent. Yeah, I'm not a social secretary.
Clearly.
You get somebody else to fix your train, all right?
All right, well, maybe we should travel separately then under those circumstances.
Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe I'll leave.
Because I can't understand how you can get a train all the way back to London from Cheltenham in the afternoon.
Yes.
You can't manage to find a train that takes you all the way there in the morning.
Oh, well, maybe I'll just come out of these studios, jump into my 3.5 litre Merc and roar off down there of my own volition.
Of your own volition?
Yeah, and then you can
What do you mean, under your own steam?
You get the milk train, son. Now then, you are right, actually.
How many litres is the engine?
3.5.
3.5.
Yes. Now then, you're right. Now, she's racing in... the race before the Marquee Gold Cup, which is called the Fox Hunter Chase.
Yeah. Isn't that on the Friday, then?
It must be.
So that'll be the same day we're there?
It must be, yeah, you're right.
So maybe I can organise an intro for you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Right.
If she goes.
Right. What does it say here? Irritation for Cheltenham is...
Irritation?
Yeah, is that...
Is that something to do with the saddle?
Not only do they want, to try and calm down the interest in it because it comes before the big race, the Gold Cup, but also they're saying that the media day, which will announce whether she's going to ride or not, is next Monday, which clashes with Betfair's press conference for the whole meeting.
Well, they're going to have to just get around that.
They are.
They can't. They can't do the old King Canute. And try and stop the tide.
No, absolutely.
This is Talk Sport. Coming up next is the Porky Quiz.
Yes.
Stimulating late-night sporting debate for long-distance lorry drivers, young mums,
What time do you call this? Coming on?
and students who've taken too many of those caffeine tablets.
The two Mikes, Parry and Graham on Talk Sport.
I'm one of the hardest working men you've ever come across in your life.
My only fault is I don't realise how great I really am.
Don't mess with me.
I won't mess with
you. All right,
you.
pal, otherwise I'll take you back through history and beat you to death with my intellect.
I'm not boasting. It's hard to be humble when you're criticized.
Louisville, Kentucky, name of Cassius Clay. Fought my way out to see another day. 7-1 odds against old Sonny Liston. Took my time.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and of course, it's time for the Porky Quiz. A lot of people think it is the highlight of the week, and many people will be avidly listening to it, not just now, but on the podcast as well. Now, we've got 10 questions here, Mr. Parry, on the subject of Muhammad Ali, as you requested, and they are straight questions, not multiple choice.
Okay.
And if you get one correct, you will hear this sound.
I can back up every word. I am the greatest.
If you get one incorrect, you will hear this.
He's too ugly to be the world heavyweight champion.
Yeah, well, I think you'll hear quite a lot of the I am the greatest, okay? Because that could apply to me by the end of this quiz.
Yeah, I knew you'd say something like that.
Yeah.
Right, so question number 1.
Okay.
Where did Muhammad Ali win his Olympic gold medal?
Olympic gold medal, 1960 at the Olympics in Rome.
Correct.
Thank you.
I am the greatest.
Hooray.
Question number 2.
Yes.
Who directed the 2001 film Ali, starring Jamie Foxx and Will Smith?
Well, that's not a film. That's not a question about Muhammad Ali.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Well, I don't set the question.
It's not a question about Muhammad Ali.
Are you going to just sit there moaning, or are you going to answer it?
Well, it's ridiculous to get a question about a film when we're talking about Muhammad Ali. What's the question again?
The question is, who directed the 2001 film Ali, starring Jamie Foxx and Will Smith? That's Jamie Foxx, who was a slave, of course.
Jamie Foxx was a slave. Film director.
Yeah.
Round about 2000. I suppose it could have been Scorsese.
Is that your answer?
Yes.
Incorrect.
He's too ugly to be the world heavyweight champion.
It is Michael Mann.
Never heard of him.
Haven't you?
No.
Oh, well.
And because I'm not a great film buff, but I'm a boxing buff.
Oh, you're right.
And I know lots about Muhammad Ali.
Well,
but not about films.
Question number 3.
Yeah.
In what round of their fight did Henry Cooper knock Ali down?
Ali was knocked down by Henry Cooper at Highbury Stadium in the 4th round.
It was in the 4th round, but it was at Wembley, actually.
At Wembley, yes.
So
Fourth round.
I'll give you the whole point.
The
even though some people would say that your information was incorrect.
No, because you didn't ask me for the location.
No, so why did you give it to me?
Sorry?
Why did you give it to me?
Because I was thinking aloud.
You were trying to show off, weren't you?
No, I wasn't trying to show
off.
off.
Yeah, you were,
at
but
all.
you got it wrong.
Rubbish.
Yeah, you were.
2 out of 3.
Any more like that, and I'll be deducting points.
I've got 2 boxing questions, 2 out of 2.
Yeah, but you've got incorrect supplementary information. If you give me any supplementary information which is not required, I will deduct half a point.
Oh.
Question number 4.
Yes.
How many times did Ali fight Joe Frazier?
Ali and Joe Frazier. Ali lost the first, but he won 2 after that. 3 times.
Correct.
Thank you. Hooray.
I am the greatest.
That's 3 out of 4.
Yeah, it's 3 out of 3, actually. Anyway, go on. 3 out of 3 boxing questions.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 3 boxing
You've
questions.
had 4 questions.
Right, go on.
You've got 3 right.
Go on.
Question number 5.
Yes.
What was the name of Ali's legendary trainer?
Well, that's a good question. Depends which legendary trainer you're thinking about. So I'm thinking aloud here, right? He started off in a training camp which was run by, thinking aloud, this is not my answer, Archie Moore. But when he actually turned professional, he decided he needed somebody else after he turned professional and started fighting, and it was Angelo Dundee.
Correct.
That's my answer. Thank you.
Back up every word. I am the greatest.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 4 boxing questions.
4 out of 5. Any more like that, and I'll deduct half a point.
Okay.
Question number 6.
Yes.
How many children does Muhammad Ali have?
In total, Because
that would be the number I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be looking for the partial number of children he's got, or the number of children he's got minus a few other numbers.
Okay.
What I'd be looking for is the total number.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the number of marriages he went through and how many children he had with each wife, and I'm adding that up in my head, thinking aloud. I would say the answer is 9.
Correct.
Thank you.
I am the greatest.
Woo! Well, this is.
I think we might have to call for the executive producer to come in and check the desk here.
No.
There's an awful lot of cheating going on.
He can if he wants.
Really?
Doesn't bother me.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay. Question number 7.
Yes.
Ali fought 61 times in his career.
Yes.
How many times did he lose?
He lost. Oh, blimey. Now, thinking aloud, it's either 4 or 5, because I thought he had 57 victories. If you're saying he fought 61 times. Right. How many times did he lose? Is that the question?
That is the question.
I would say the answer is, and I should get half a point if I'm only one out, shouldn't I?
No.
Oh, definitely. I think he lost 5 times.
Correct.
I am the greatest.
Woo.
That's 6 out of 7.
6 out of 6 boxing questions, of
6.
course.
All right, that's 5.5 now. I told you if you said that again, you get deducted half a point. 5.5 out of 7.
You are joking.
Question number 8.
Yeah.
Cassius Clay famously made the decision to start boxing in reaction to the theft of his bike.
Yes.
Who was the policeman and coach who first taught him to box?
Golly, what a bizarre question. He went to the policeman and he said, I'm going to beat up the boy who took my bike. And the policeman said, no, don't beat him up. Learn to box, and then if you want to, you can challenge him to a fight in the ring. I can only say that it may have been a retired Archie Moore, but I don't think that's the right answer, but I don't know the name of the policeman. So Archie Moore.
Incorrect.
He's too ugly to be the world
Joe Martin.
champ.
His name. He went with him to the games in Rome, actually.
Yeah, that's
so he was
right,
quite a significant figure.
Okay.
That's 5.5 out of 8.
6 out of 8.
No, 5.5. Question number 9.
Yeah.
The fight of the century between Ali and Fraser at Madison Square Garden in 1971 was a sellout.
Yeah.
Which superstar had to be accredited as a press photographer to get in?
What year was it again, please?
1971.
71. Superstar accredited as a photographer to get in. Let me see. 1971. Sellout. Now, thinking aloud, I'm thinking of Sylvester Stallone, but I don't think he was around in those days. I'm thinking...
Well, he was certainly alive.
Yeah, I'm thinking... Yeah, I know, but he wasn't a superstar, I don't think, in 71. I'm thinking Sinatra. I'm thinking Clint Eastwood. I'm thinking... Let me see. Let me see, Yes, Superstar, 71. Oh, I'm even thinking, right, Dustin Hoffman. I'm even thinking Robert, what's his name? Sundance Kid. What was his name?
Robert De Niro.
No, not De Niro, no, the other guy. Paul Newman and Robert Redford. Right, I'm going to have to say, if it's Superstar, Frank Sinatra.
Correct.
Talking about that better word. I am the greatest.
That's 6.5 out of 9.
7 out of 9.
That is very much. I'll take another half point off if you keep complaining. Question number 10.
Yeah.
Who was Ali's last knockout win of his career?
Last knockout win of his career. Last knockout. I tell you, I think it was when he regained his title for the 3rd time. Spinks. My answer, Spinks.
Well, there's more than one Spinks.
Michael Spinks.
Is it?
Michael Spinks.
Michael Spinks?
Michael Spinks.
Incorrect.
No.
He's too ugly to be the world heavyweight champ.
It was Richard Dunn.
Richard Dunn. Do you know what Richard Dunn was known as?
It was something about bleeding, wasn't it?
No. Richard Dunn was known as the Swaddling-Coat swineherd. Right. No, because he was a pig farmer.
I think we've
from
talked about this
Swaddling-Coat
before.
in Derbyshire.
Yeah.
And he was christened by a Daily Express photographer who took the picture at the ringside when Ali knocked him out onto his back. Canvasback Jack.
That's right. Well, that was in 1976.
Yes,
2.05 minutes into the 5th round. So you've done very well.
Thank
6.5 out of 10.
7,
If you hadn't complained so much, you would have had 7.
You can't take half a point
Yeah,
off me
I told
for that.
you.
No, you can't.
I warned you twice.
The audience know you can't.
No, I warned you twice. I said if you carry on with that, you will be deducted half a point.
The audience know
you
you
were given
can't.
2 warnings, and you persisted in your moaning and your groaning.
The audience also know that the movie question was not a boxing
Not
question.
true.
I'm claiming 8 out of 10.
You can claim whatever you like.
No, I'm claiming 7 out of 9.
You can claim whatever you
7
like.
out of 9. 7/9.
6.5.
So record score for me. Record score for
6.5 out of 10.
One Porky Parry. There's only one Porky
such
Parry.
a flake.
One
This is why
Porky
people hate you.
Parry.
This
People
is why
love me.
people hate you.
No, people love me.
because you cannot just be normal.
No, they
you
hate
can't
you.
just be happy.
They hate you.
No, they don't hate me.
They
I'm not
hate
the one
me.
that doesn't have any friends.
Yeah,
I'm not the one that goes home alone every night and wonders what on earth is going
They hate
on.
you because you
This
introduce new
is
questions
Talk
towards
Sport.
the end
I
to
have
try
nothing
and
to do
do
with
me
the
in.
questions. Nothing to do with the questions.
I
This
can
is
back
Talk
up every
Sport.
word. I am the greatest.
Colin Murray, weekday mornings from 10 on TalkSport with Wicks. Every weekday morning, get opinionated comment.
Didn't play? No, exactly. I think I've played more for Spurs than he has.
Exclusive interviews.
Usain Bolt.
I always know what I need to do, so when I go out, I just get it done.
And unmissable debate.
People in the street like me, and that's enough. Yeah, that's what all losers say.
From the biggest names in sports broadcasting every day.
Unbelievable, breathtaking stuff.
Colin Murray, weekday mornings from 10 on TalkSport with Wicks. Let's do it right.
An attack has decimated the British capital.
What do you want?
London descending into chaos.
This March, London will fall and a hero will rise.
Stay with me. We'll get you out of here.
Gerard Butler, Aaron Eckhart, and Morgan Freeman.
Get down!
Don't miss the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh my God.
London Has Fallen. In cinemas now. Rated 15.
The family member who was concerned. The neighbour who felt uneasy. The teacher who was worried. The coach who noticed at practice. And you. Together, we can tackle child abuse. If you suspect child abuse, visit gov.uk/report child abuse to find out who to call.
Time for a new 16-plate van. Time for a Mercedes-Benz Citan, Vito or Sprinter. How about 0% APR and a service plan for just £10 a month across the whole model range? There's never been a better time than this March to drive away with a new 16-plate Mercedes-Benz van. Clock's ticking. Find out more at mbvans.co.uk. Business users only. Hire purchase only. Maximum term 36 months. Minimum deposit 20%. VAT at 20% applies. Credit approvals by 31st of March 2016. Mercedes-Benz Finance.
Budweiser are scouting our amateur football nation for the back-of-the-net beauties that never get celebrated to find the best dream goal. Send us a video of your ultimate shirt-off screamer for the chance to get your greatest goal seen on TV by millions and analysed by Budweiser's team of expert pundits, including Jamie Redknapp and Jamie Carragher. Upload your dream goal and watch the best at budweiser.co.uk/dreamgoal.
Entry closes 25th of April. Over 25s only. Terms and conditions apply. Please drink responsibly.
The Form Zone on TalkSport with Betfair. Listen to TalkSport throughout the weekend for Betfair's experts' essential guide to all the latest form and odds as all the big teams face off. Everything you need to keep ahead of the game and make sure you know where the smart money is this weekend. Enter the Form Zone every weekend on TalkSport with Betfair's ACCA Edge, giving you cash back on trebles and above on all sports and markets if one leg of your accumulator lets you down. Selected bets only. Full terms at betfair.com. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Talk Sport. Loyalty, fearlessness, ferocious determination, and indefatigable spirit.
Do-de-do-da-day.
Talk
Thank you very much. I can honestly say
Yes.
that, I did think you do quite well. And for the first time,
Yes.
having watched you answer the questions,
Yes.
I actually don't have any suspicions about where you got the information from.
Because
there have been times in the past where I've noticed your eyes kind of darting about.
Not at all.
Bits of paper
Not
floating
at all.
around. You've always been a bit sort of unsure about.
Of course, you
putting
had
bits
to
of paper
introduce
to
a
one
couple
side.
of questions which are impossible to answer.
No, I have no. I have no guidance on the quiz questions whatsoever. The quiz questions are compiled by the independent quizmasters.
The night before,
as I tell you, every single week. Yeah, and I have no control over
the night before. You phone the invigilators and you make sure they stick a couple of impossible questions in to save your face.
Absolutely not true.
What's the audience reaction then?
Well,
come on.
How about this one from Phil?
Yeah.
He says, check and see if Porky's cheating. He says, well done, Porky, but you can't lose points for moaning because you always moan.
No.
Tom says, I smell a rat. Can't believe Porky got that score without cheating.
No.
I bet he had a crib sheet.
Rubbish.
Mike says, Porky, just accept defeat. You're moaning like a kid.
No, I'm not. I'm not prepared to be gerrymanderingly bullied like this. Right?
How about this one from Si?
Yeah.
Mike Parry has done well for once on the quiz. Definitely can hear in Mike Graham's voice that he doesn't like it.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you don't
that's not
like
true
it.
at all.
Yeah. Now, listen, what was this story you're telling me about Spinks? And in fact, it would have been Leon Spinks that Ali fought, not Michael Spinks.
Well, funnily enough, a couple of stories about the Spinks brothers, because Leon Spinks, I don't think I've told you this one before, I had to go, there was something about an anniversary of something or other, and I had to go for Sunday Magazine, which is New Zealand's old magazine, to find various people who had been great, but had sort of lost everything.
Yeah.
And I had to track him down to this bar opposite the Ford plant in Detroit.
Oh, right.
Where he basically hung out all the time. And he was employed by the bar to try and bring the Ford workers in for a drink, you know? So he basically went there at 9 o'clock in the morning, drank a mixture in the same glass, Cointreau and lager.
Yeah.
All day. And was completely... So I met him...
bladderated by 6 o'clock.
The worst thing was, right, he had, his front teeth had gone because he couldn't afford to replace them.
That's right.
And he had a fur coat, which was the only thing he had left from his time as heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And he had no money. And I met him at about midday. Yeah. And we drank together for about 8 hours. And I was recording him on a tape. And when I got it home to try and transcribe it, couldn't understand a word. Because, one, he was completely blooded. And also, two, and also there was this kind of jukebox in the background. So I had to write this like...
And all these adoring sort of Ford workers.
No, the place was empty.
Oh, really?
No, because, I mean, he'd been there for so long that nobody bothered going to see him anymore.
No.
You tell the same stories all the time, I tell you what, I'm like, oh, God, you know, poor guy.
Yeah.
But Michael Spinks once threw me out of a press conference before he was supposed to fight Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And they all used to train up in the Catskills, you know, it was about 2 hours north of New York. Yeah. And I went up there with Mickey Brennan, our mate, who was big boxing photographer.
Yeah.
And all these boxing, writers were there. And I sort of
aficionados.
The old aficionados, falling over him and saying what a great guy he was and how he was going to take Tyson apart. And he was sitting down, and I remember, and I sort of moved closer to him, and I said, Michael, do you think you can take a punch from Mike Tyson? And he went nuts. Absolutely nuts. He stood up. He said, I'll tell you, can you take a punch from me?
Yeah.
You know, and he started sort of moving towards me.
That's not the point.
I said, well, I'm sure I probably couldn't, but, you know, I'm not a professional boxer.
Yeah.
You know, can you take a punch from Mike Tyson? Because a lot of people can't. And he had me thrown out of the press conference. And then, of course, when he fought Mike Tyson, Tyson hit him once, and he went down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, never got up again. No, probably never fought again after that.
Exactly.
I had a similar problem with Chris Evert at Flushing Meadow, because she just won a game. And the news coming from England was that she was having an affair with Adam Faith. Remember Adam Faith?
And he was quite a big name at the time, wasn't he?
Very big.
This was before he went bust, presumably.
Oh, I don't think Adam Faith ever went bust. No, but
did he not go bust famously?
No, I don't think he
sure?
did. Well, if he did, I think he revived. He didn't die in penniless. He died in bed watching Channel 5 News with a woman he'd met in a hotel in America.
Right.
But
not Chris Evert.
At the time, his career had just been revived with a TV series called Budgie or something.
Oh yeah, I remember Budgie.
Or something like that.
And I thought for some reason I thought he was involved in some kind of financial scandal.
Oh, he was. I think he had. I think he became a trader or something like that. And millions, you know, sort of arrived and disappeared. But I don't think he actually ever went bust.
Oh,
but anyway,
he became an investor and financial advisor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And he was working for the Mail as well.
Was he? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, point of the story is that I wasn't even accredited, so I got some accreditation last minute to get in there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was. Have you ever been to one of these things where these writers, particularly in America, when he says, now, Miss Evert, in the third game of the second set, I noticed that your swing on your left backhand was, 2 degrees off. What do you think about that?
Right.
And then she'd spend 5 minutes saying, well, the way I would approach it. And then another guy would say, Miss Evert, I noticed that, on your second serve throughout the third set, you were only hitting a length of 26 metres or something like that,
You go deeper into the court.
Yeah, and all that. And anyway, so when I eventually got my turn, and it took some time because I didn't recognise my face, you see what I mean? So I thought, who's this guy?
Right.
I said, hello, Miss Evert. My Parry, Daily Express. Are you having sex with Adam Faith? And I just about got the last word out before all the other tennis writers leapt on me. You know, punch him, you know.
Well, I used to, I mean, famously...
She then said, I'm answering no more questions, and she ran off, you know what I mean?
Well, famously, the sports reporters, particularly football reporters, actually, in the days gone by, used to call the news guys the rotters, didn't they?
Yeah, the rotters,
because, you know, basically, you'd get these situations like you'd have a conference and some story would break about some scandal involving a footballer.
Yeah, that's right.
And all the sports guys go, oh, yeah, we've known about that for ages.
Yeah.
And we're like, why didn't you put it in the paper then?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, you know, we've got our, some relationships to protect. And they're like, well, you work for a newspaper, you don't work for a football club.
It's right.
You know, and while some people might think that some journalists' practices have been questionable, you know, you don't work for a football club.
I totally agree. And subsequently, going the years, right, by the way, getting back to Chris Evert, she turned out to be quite a girl. I mean, you know...
Oh, she was very...
John Lloyd.
Active, yes.
The ski instructor that she married.
She became quite well known on the circuit for being quite sort of avaricious in that way.
Yeah, so
she was no bad thing.
Social girl, yeah.
No bad thing at all.
Yeah.
Good luck to her.
Yeah. So that's what I say. So why was she worried about being exposed as a Rodgerizer?
Well, was she not married at the time?
No, she wasn't. No, I don't think she was. Or she might have been, I'm not sure. No, I don't think so.
Maybe that would have been a reason.
Yeah, it could have been.
It could have been.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk Sport.
Locker Kalita Coco. Locker Kalita Coco.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Not much time left, I'm afraid.
No, I insist you read some of these out, please. I insist you read some
out.
The reactions from the listeners.
I've read a load of them out.
No, I want a load more. I want
a load out.
You haven't read out the punitive ones. I want the punitive ones.
What do you mean punitive?
The punitive ones, the ones that say you are a gerrymandering cheat.
Well,
right?
I mean,
come on, I want to hear them.
I mean, there are people who will always say that every week,
right?
Doesn't mean it's true.
No.
Here's one from Russell.
Yes.
Gerrymandering from MG, 7 out of 10.
Thank you.
You never said moaning counted. You said extra information would be points deductible. No, I didn't. I said if you kept saying that he'd got 3 out of 3, because he didn't count the second question, or 4 out of 4 when he didn't count the second question, then I would deduct half a point. I warned him twice, and that's why half a point was deducted.
Pathetic.
Andrew says he floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee.
Yes.
Porky wins on points from old MG's stinging comments.
Thank you.
Juniorous Prime says, well done. I think IRMG's jerryization of you is not magnificent.
Yes.
Matthew says, Mike Parry done very well tonight.
Thank you.
Cheeky question on the film, nothing to do with Ali. Well done, Portmeister.
Yeah,
Are you serious, Matthew? So a film about Ali, which is called Ali, is nothing to do with Ali.
Well, it's nothing to do with Muhammad Ali. It's to do with filmmakers.
No, it was to do with Muhammad Ali. The whole film was about Muhammad Ali.
Hey, I've just seen...
Stephen says, utter gerrymandering by IRMG determined to lower Porky's high score. No, exactly. you lowered it yourself.
Exactly. It's disgraceful.
And then so another one from Steve, who says, you know MG always puts at least 1 or 2 non-related questions.
Of course, yeah.
How often do I have to say to people, I have nothing to do with the questions?
I
have nothing to do with them.
You bring all pressure to bear on the people who do do make it, you know.
And then Marty says, ridiculously easy questions. I'm not even a boxing fan, and I answered most of them correct.
Rubbish. They were very difficult
Fire the
questions.
quizmaster.
No, difficult questions.
And Anonymous says he must have seen the questions beforehand and looked up the answers in one of his Ali Tin Pot journals.
Yeah, here, JPK says the decision to remove half a point is straight out of the Blunkett Authoritarian Manual. Porky, stand tall. You got 7 out of 9.
7 out of 9.
7 out of 9. Old MG's behaviour reprehensible.
7 out of 9.
How about that?
No, well, I mean, he's obviously one of your sort of moronic Porky tribe types. Because
that's very nice. So anybody who follows me is moronic, are they?
No, they're the sort of people that vote for you in winners and losers, regardless of whether you're any good or not.
What about
they're the sort of people that are always for you and against me.
And what about Becky, our favourite person from New Zealand? She says, Porky Quiz, brilliant display of boxing knowledge from Porky, a record high for the champ. No towel thrown in the ring this time, Porky. Well done.
Yeah, OK.
So that's fantic. Yeah. What a reaction I'm getting.
What a pathetic person you must be.
What a reaction.
You know, that this actually means something to you.
Hey, you got
6.5 out of 10, which is not even more than a C grade at any exam level.
7 out of 9, that's what I got.
No, there were 10 questions. You got 7 right.
Everybody knows.
And you had half a point deducted on the grounds of what can only be described as talking back to the referee.
I stand tall tonight. I stand tall, I stand proud.
Well, you better stand on a chair.
And because Muhammad Ali is one of the heroes of my life, I'm so proud to have been able to honour his name. I honoured the name of Muhammad Ali.
I think the Red Bull's finally kicking in. Get lost. Get out of here. Don't forget to follow the Two Mics at the Two Mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mics TV.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
Excuse me, a case to most people is something they take on holiday.